Oh no. Oh god. Oh dear. What's happening, y'all? Another day, another you, another me. Let's go. So today, there's just 2 games on today. I was originally just going to do the Matreiuss versus Mosca series, but I realized I missed the Ulysses Tiger Boss series. So we're going to watch that one first because that's going to be fun. And that'll then lead into our main event for today, I guess, of 2 of the best raiding players in the literal game. 2 of the best Poseidon players in the game. 2 of just the best players in the game. I've already said it once, but this group for Matreiuss and Mosca is literally the group of death. They've got... I would not be able to call who gets out of this group. It's Matreiuss, El Matador, Mini Yeti, Mosca. By all accounts, had Mosca played in Qualifier 1, he probably would have made it through, and he'd probably be in the 9th to 13th seed. So he probably would have been in maybe the Uranus division, maybe in the Isis division, maybe even in the Zeus division above grass, and it would have been a completely different story. But because he as he did the second qualifier, he gets dumped into this Loki division of pure madness. But that's not what we're going to be watching first. We are we're going to watch the this recorded games, these recorded games from Tiger Boss and Ulysses, and then we'll jump into it. So wonderful. Let's have a little look at their draft, and we'll get into the games. So our first game is actually going to be a Uranus versus Fushi on Elysium, which is pretty exciting. I love this map. This is an interesting matchup. And well, Tiger Boss on his Uranus as well is going to be something to really look forward to. Let's have a little quick look here. We've got the Tiger Boss Uranus. We've got the Fushi from Ulysses. Okay. Let's, I don't know what, I don't really have much to say here. We're going to basically just jump through these games, enjoy them, and see what happens. So let's get into game number 1 and go from there. Hey. Alrighty, in the right-hand corner of the map, spawning as the blue Fushi. His name is Ulysses. Look, he's holding the little yin and yang thing. Okay, anyways. Little things that nobody notices unless you zoom in. Over onto this side, we have the Uranus here from Tiger Boss. He's back on his pride and joy. I think Tiger Boss is one of those players, I think, who adapted probably... Of the people who adapted well to Retold from Legacy, Tiger Boss is one of the very, very highest of levels in terms of like his ability to have just said, you know what, I was a main in Legacy of X-God, but now we're in this new game and we're gonna just learn a whole bunch of different gods, and we're just gonna play the gods that we're comfortable with, the gods that are strong. And he's happily able to say, okay, X-God is strong now, so we play X-God. Y-God is strong now, so we play Y-God. All that being said, his Atlantean is an absolute menace. His Atlantean is definitely something to be scared of for nearly anyone in this game, and I think Ulysses is going to have his work cut out for him in this game, even though he does have the Fushi. On the top here, we've got the arrows of the Alpha, plus 15% of base there for the building damage. Over onto this side, there is the Tower of Cestus, which is damage bonus against myth units plus 1x. Over onto this side, there is the Zhurang, which is plus 10 wall regen per second. And also the Eye of Horus, which is going to be some town center and citadel center population cap going up by 4. So in this matchup right now, the Fushi has some things to be really, really careful of. You can't realistically just spam Quailfu because that will chew through your gold. And your opponent will be able to maybe find something with, say, Shockwave and Carnivora. You can't really spam myth units either because you're going to have to be playing into the Oceanus of Uranus, which comes with like a Caladria, which can obviously pacify those myth units, catch them out. And then also the cheaper infantry heroes. Now, the Fushi will have access to some fire archers and things like that, so they can take those out and they can be okay with all that. But it's still, I don't think this one's as simple as it seems. As Tiger Boss here thought about Chi Yao for a second, but instead decides, you know what? Let's go Zhuan Nu. I still got a bit of a cough. I was feeling really, really shitty when I woke up today, but we're in. Alrighty, so the Zhuan Nu here from Ulysses. Why is Zhuan Nu in this matchup? Well, I think one of the biggest ones is that Vanish is a great counter for Chaos. So you can't really go Chaos here, because if like Chaos is costing 60 favor to start with, Vanish is costing 60 favor to recast, so you're going to drop it down to your opponent. They click Vanish, does nothing. You trade your god power for their god power, but yours is a classical age, or the Fushi's is a classical age god power, and the Uranus is a heroic age god power. So does make a lot of sense. You also get the heals in, which can be a big help because your opponent's also going to be having heals with the Caladria, so getting those chilling out to get some heals in is going to be really nice. Next is an immediate Imperial Academy in as the Oceanus is through for Tiger Boss. He's going to drop himself a military barracks and a counter barracks. I'm not exactly surprised to see that there. And also a very, very quick Chillin's Blessing here getting pre-queued. This one does increase the healing rate. So it goes, I think it goes from 0.5 up to 0.75 a second. So it's not a crazy amount of increase, but the area of effect is really, really large. So it can be really helpful in a big fight. It's generally not something I would recommend rushing out, but Ulysses is going to be grabbing that one really, really early on, as he does wander around onto this side, risking his Chillin's life here. This is very, very dangerous. He does get caught out. Also 5.3 speed versus 5.3 speed Chillin. As soon as the Chillin gets caught up to here, the Murmillo is going to be able to catch up and get even extra smacks on. And I think this Chillin might actually just be dead. Nope, never mind. He got a good amount of damage done. I thought it was, I mean, obviously you can just chase it down. It's fine. Over onto this. Ooh. The pig steals. 3 pigs. The thief. The pig thief. Take him away. Hang him. Okay, anyways. Games to go on. We've got the Ulysses. Najar out. He's got himself a machine workshop. He's got himself a military camp over here. And he is going to be motoring ahead in this one. Over onto the right. Oh, we've already done the relics. I'm losing my mind here, guys. It's totally fine. And we will actually see that Chillin's Blessing coming through. So what Ulysses can do now is he can grab both of his Chillin and he can just walk them together as he can just heal everything up. And they do heal themselves at that 0.75. So when they get 2 together, then it's going to be 1.5 HP a second. If you get 3 in there, it's going to be even more, as we are also now seeing the Celestial Weapons coming in. And the Najar going to be looking for some little cheeky raids over onto the side. So while Ulysses has said, I'm not really going to go for Quailfu, I'm going to go for a spending all my favor. He does get himself a little bit more gold in his main base, but it's a little bit less actual gold income, which is really interesting. What I have been seeing from a lot of other players is they've really been wanting to spam out the Quailfus and getting themselves a lot of extra resources where that's concerned. But the Murmillo heroes charging in as Ulysses is there to say, excuse you, please Remove thyself from my lands. Over into the main base. The chillin over here. Just trying to get little raids off. There's not really much you can get. Like I said, I don't think you can get much done here with this chillin in terms of raids. But as long as you keep them alive, don't lose them, they're going to be an amazing assistance in terms of healers for the mid game. Like once you get to like 5, 6, 7 chillin, that ends up being a very, very nice amount of healing for your army. As the Fire Archer gets sniped. Great control here from Tiger Boss. Carting back with the Caladria there. As the heroes not chasing that one down. Caladria just going to be healing up all of those Terma and all the other good stuff. Can heal themselves up. And the game to continue along. I mean, I'm surprised to see Ulysses continuing to send these guys out and risk them getting pacified. Because, like, another idea here for Tiger Boss, I don't see this very often, but I think it's a really good idea. Is just to mass. Oh, he only has 3, but it's to mass up like 5, 6, 7 Caladria. Because why not? Because then they're just able to like constantly pacify myth units, so they can't run around the map. You have to be much more passive with those guys there. Nonetheless, Najjar poking forward, seeing the army coming through. It's a very, very closely valued army at the moment. Both players similar resources, similar amount of spend. There's a decent amount of Javelineers here. Oh, actually, there's only 4. I'm actually a little worried here for Ulysses' army. He doesn't have a fantastic answer for those Terma, which are going to be able to erase the Fire Archers and then allow the Murmillos to get some mad value here. Got a little bit of splash damage onto the Murmillos, but again, that just gets healed back up by the Caladria. So this is basically the entirety of this chillin is getting countered by the Caladrias for the moment here. As Tiger Boss charges forward. We see the Terma getting taken out. Answer, no. 7 HP remaining and a dream. As Tiger Boss charges back in here. Shockwave onto the army as Tiger Boss says it's go time. His chillin have been somewhat caught out of position here as the Murmillo chased them off into the distance. The rest of the army does seem to be like it's not that bad here. He's got to get his chillin back into the action as the Murmillo heroes do spot some villagers over here. Snipes one. Then he's going to be pulling back. The Pioneers will be able to take out the Carnivora. The Tiger Boss. Oh, Ulysses actually, I think he might have misclicked on the Carnivora. He runs his heroes in to die. Still leaving his chillin outside of the fight, even though there's only now 1 hero. This is a huge, sorry, 2 heroes here. Still a huge mistake here from Ulysses to have that much military value not in the fight. He did a great job of running away, but just leaving them out of the fight for the entirety of the time. That was just mission accomplished from Tiger Boss. He gets some huge damage. He's still got his Caladria. He did lose 1. He's still got his Caladria over here to heal up everyone. And now all of these units that got low from those chillin' fire things, from the slight amount of fighting from the DPS from the other units, they're just going to go back to full HP. On the contrast here for the chillin', they're leaving the army, so they're not healing up this army over here. There's only a handful of units that are actually injured though, so maybe it's not really the best of ideas, but still, he's not getting those units back up to full HP, and the next fight is going to go even better, I think, for Tiger Boss. In fact, Tiger Boss feels like he's gotten enough of an advantage here that he can just go to the heroic age. In fact, he's cut villages. He literally cut villages here, and he says, I don't want another citizen. I want the fight. Let me just get heroic age as fast as I possibly can. And we'll see if he cut villages on purpose, and then he's going to start them back up again, or if he's just going to go full spam here. It does actually make a lot of sense to just not make villages anymore. This sounds crazy. There's never any moment where you want to stop making villages, right? Well, not really. In this specific moment, if you spend literally every bit of resource on a map like this after you take that first fight, even if your opponent is in front of villages, they have to go to a second gold mine. So you can mass up a a 175 population army with only 44 villages, leaving you with like 130 pop to your opponent, who's probably going to go up to something like 60 villages, and they're not going to have that pop to be able to hold a gold mine. And then if they can't hold the gold mine, they just kind of lose everything. So there is some method to this madness that Tiger Boss is going for. And I have to say, it's clear that he's done it on purpose, because he did it to go up to the next age. Whether or not he did it to do a crazy all-in and he's going to forget the villager production again, I don't know. But definitely the heroic age at the very least was on purpose. Still pumping units, not starting villagers here. Tiger Boss pulling back. Just going to be waiting, getting his upgrades in maybe, getting more units through. There is that vanish, so chaos isn't that big of a deal. Now, if someone does do this to you and you recognize it, however you manage to recognize it, don't ask me. But if you do recognize it, you can just drop some buildings down, especially with China, and get the tower attachments. And that's going to help you defend. The Carnivora gets dropped down over here. Terma charging through. Vanish does get dropped, but Ulysses doesn't use it correctly here. He turns back in. Chaos gets dropped down, and Ulysses here is going to be losing everything. It's 4.2k military resource value to 2k, and a gigantic blunder from Ulysses with that Vanish. He has the Vanish. He can just run from this. He's got the Peach Blossom Spring in his main base, but he does not have that fight in him in this game. The blunder of Vanish and then move. That's the blunder. For those of you wanting to use this God Power, you've got to move the army, run it, basically stop the attack movements, and then drop Vanish. That's the secret there. That is the secret. Secrets have been exposed. If you just click Vanish, then the units will automatically attack again, and they will pop back out, and it will be very, very sad for you. But nonetheless, a well-played game here from Tiger Boss, showing off a very, very nice strat here. I like this one. Obviously, it's just pretty stock standard. He gets his units, he gets his army, he runs in, he uses a Shockwave Carnivore, he cuts villager production after he wins the fight, he goes Heroic Age, and then he just full spams in for the next usage of Shockwave Carnivora, plus a Chaos on the next fight on a gold mine, and if you're not prepared for it, well, that can be the game. Anyways, let's jump back into the draft, and we'll get the next game going for you. I'm going to have to take a quick break, guys. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to take a quick break. Caught out. 3DB here is going to be losing big on this fight. It looks like the Spearmen coming in onto the back line. They're throwing action. Great control there from Hell's Ravage. But doesn't matter. I don't think it does matter. Hell's head first into this army, loses the entirety of his raiding cavalry force. The choke point was too insanely powerful, and all of a sudden, Hell's Ravage is the one on the defense as 3DB manages to clean the army. Gullenbursty is in, trying to take out these units here. The Tempest on top of all of these units, is it going to be enough, is the question. All of those Hippias seem to be melting to the Herdman. The Cyclops also getting frozen up here, but Hell's army does seem to have taken some significant damage. Looks like the infantry are out of position. The Caraballista are getting collapsed onto here, as this is a huge fight now for Hell's Ravage. He gets himself a Draugr over onto the side. There's no answer for the throwing axe for now, as all the Caraballista are getting demolished, as even with that beautiful choke point, it's just not going to be enough. This one, he charges through. You have to keep going. He doesn't go over the Caraballista. It does not get that value as the Terma trying to get onto the back line there, but they are in a pretty good position there. Caraballista here getting some big damage on as the Yahtzee to charge forward. Yet again, B trying to take this fight off of Lush as the Tawu does go down. Population-wise now, however, it is looking like B is managing to hold on. The Terma are doing work on that backline, and Hell's Ravager's army melts there. Is this going to be... Surely not. He's going to be dropping Earth Wall on the front here. Really? That's wild. He's got it set up. He's getting the double military camp up. The Forcetti is on the way. Earth Wall gets dropped down. You could bring the villagers over here to shank this wall down, but Nullus, he says, I don't have it. I don't have that in me. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to pull my dwarves over to and look, the Cheongchi is already in here. Mini Yeti pulls off the cheese of his life right now. Upgrades. The Raizu goes down immediately. There's the Thunderburst. The Fey Beast gets dropped down onto the back army here. As it looks like Adopessu says, I am just going to face tank this. Tries to stay back, but that allows the Samurai to get on top of this army. The population for Adopessu looks like it's dropping, but the military population here is still very, very high. The Taltier to pull back will almost get sniped by that Bushy there. It does end up going down. The entirety of Adopessu's army gets obliterated there from that one maneuver from Nyan. And Adopessu says, that's the game. He's going to have to micro this really, really well. He doesn't have the heroes on this spot. Maybe deleting the Ajax and building them up here wouldn't be a bad idea. Restoration coming through. The medium Peltas in. The Sentinels. A second Sentinels actually to come through as well to help attempt to hold this position here. The Tawu goes down. The town center up in the middle of the map, in the middle of the base for Nyan. Does it go up population-wise? It is looking like Adopessu is holding for the moment. Alrighty then, first game does go over to Tiger Boss as he has an incredibly strong showing in that first one. We're going to be moving into the next game, which will be a Frere versus Hades situation. Let me go ahead and do this, and then we will jump into the first game, or second game. So we've got Frere for Ulysses against the Tiger Boss, who is playing as Hades. All right, let's get going. Alrighty, in the right-hand corner of the map, spawning as the blue Frere. His name is Ulysses. In the left-hand corner of the map, it is Tiger Boss, playing as the red Hades. We are on the map Anatolia. Got some relics up the top. Let's have a look at them, and then we'll talk about this match. So we've got that Ria's Crown sitting here. Going to be making those town centers a little bit cheaper. Over here, the Chariot of Sibel, always nice, especially on this map. This map here, having a couple of like free units to just go and harass your opponent while you're focusing on the water and on other things. That can be really, really nice just to like sneakily get some villager picks. They are very, very strong lions, at least in the early game. Over here, we've also got the Eye of Ornlu, which is going to make those counter units or counter infantry units just that little bit stronger. Nonetheless, a dock up the top here. The Tiger Boss now up as he's going to start grabbing himself some fish. We're also going to see Ulysses doing the same thing on the same side. So I've talked about this before, but a quick recap. Docks on the same side, we go to the other side. Docks are opposite, we stay on the same side. That's all you got to remember here for early game dock placement. That's the little secrets of the trade. But apart from that, what's this matchup actually look like? Well, here's the thing. Frere is a little bit of a powerhouse on this map, but there's some very specific things you got to be careful of. Specifically with Hades is Metropolis, Fortress, getting gold starved. You've got the problems of, say, an Underworld, which can play around things like Tempest, Ghoul and Bursty. You got the problems of Restoration or even Pestilence to knock out your Fortress spamming. And also Cyclops and things like that. There's some really, really strong myth units here for Frey, but they do all cost wood, which while is normally a really big bonus or benefit, while it's normally a really big bonus or benefit on a map like Anatolia, where you've got such an increased amount of food income, oftentimes you want to be spending that food on myth units where you can, like for example, a Hydra or a Mountain Giant or an Olmeraki, just on the fact that you're going to have excess food, and that's the easiest way to get rid of that excess food. But Freya's only got, well, Freya does have Valkyrie, but it's not really a unit you really want to be. Actually, you know what? Maybe it is worth. Nah, you want to go for the Uller in this matchup on this map. As much as I'd love to say maybe Freya makes some sense, get the Valkyries out, go and raid with them early on. I can't say it with a straight face. The Uller is just much more powerful here. That early hill fort, getting access to the Huskal is a godsend. So tough to put the damage on and delay any of that stuff from happening. So it's basically a guaranteed hill fort to come up 99 times out of 100. But anyways, we see the docks down on the bottom here for Tiger Boss as he is ready to spam out all of that stuff. He doesn't actually come up here and steal any of these fishing spots here, which is a little bit spicy. A little bit spicy. Nonetheless. We'll see how this game is going to go, as a very, very late advance time from both players, it seems. Generally, I'm looking at maybe a 4:15, at least the temple being down. I don't see a temple up just yet for Tiger Boss. He's literally just pumping fishing ships out here, getting himself up more houses, and still hasn't started himself a temple. Am I wrong? Is there a temple up? There isn't. The temple for Ulysses will be finished fairly shortly. But I guess Tiger Boss is just like, yeah, there's really no worries with me going to the next age late. He's probably going to go for like 6 docks or something. Just a lot of docks. In fact, he goes for a 4th. Excuse me. He goes for a 4th dock. Literally, he goes for a 4th dock. Oh, sorry, a 5th dock before the temple. And now he goes, oh, I forgot my temple. Let me put 8 villages on it to build it as fast as I humanly can. This can't be part of Tiger Boss's build. Is he going to rush for 15 favor now? Unironically? This is the wildest build I think I've ever seen. Ajax out. Going to go look for some relics. So the main base here. We've got that Ulla on the way. And he is unironically going for the fastest Vaults of Erebus I've ever seen, with the most amount of villages I've ever seen. Okay, it's not the fastest I've ever seen. Obviously, at 5 minutes plus is not as fast as it normally is. But on a water map, this is absolutely wild. And he's leaving them on there. Now, I'm genuinely shook. He's left 4 villages on the temple. He literally just took them off. What is his plan here? Multiple Minotaur? Is he going for a Minotaur idea? Why not go for Cyclops or something? I'm so confused. Skylar? Well, it could be a fast heroic. That's very, very true. Yes, he's brought his villagers back onto food. He's only got a handful on wood, so it will be an armory. It will be a fast heroic, so it does make sense. He is going for those Skylar. Unless he's doing something else, which I'm not sure just yet. He hasn't dropped himself the armory. Yeah, well, with going for Persine, it's going to speed up his economy and all the other good stuff. Ulysses now getting his own armory, as it looks like he's also going for a fast heroic. He's still got a handful of villagers on food. So both players will be heading to that heroic age. One thing I think is really important for the Freyr here, if you're doing this, is to make sure you've got all of the economic upgrades you want. But also, you got to start getting those armory upgrades, and most importantly, the medium infantry tech, because you want to grab heavy infantry pretty early on in the heroic age as well. If you're just going to wait, then it's going to be the fast heroics kind of, a lot of the advantages of it has kind of been lost. Nonetheless, the Toskapots over here will be going down after all is said and done. Tiger Boss and his heroic age will be hitting first, and Whoever said the Skylar, it's very correct. I actually want to see him get golden apples here very, very quickly. He's throwing even more villagers onto favor. That's 7. Now he's going for military academy archery range onto this side. But yeah, Ulysses does hit it first. He is going for Ring Oath. He hasn't placed the Asgardian Bastion down just yet, which makes me a little bit nervous. You generally want to pop that one down inside your main base so you have no problems with anything happening, and then you can drop the second one out onto a gold mine or something like that and grab a town center. Like if he comes over here and drops the hill fort here to maybe secure this gold mine, then he grabs this town center behind it. He's going to have Gul and Bersi to defend over here or over here as well. Nonetheless, Heroic Age now in, Kraken out, and going to be looking for little bits of damage over here, but one player here has got a very, very specific plan, and that player is Tigerbots. He says, I'm going straight for Skylar. How are you going to deal with it? Kraken comes through. We'll be able to, at the very least, pick off a fishing ship for free before Tigerbots reacts. Heads into the center of the map, and Asgardian Hill Fort now finally starting to go down, and the fishing ship doesn't get back. No, the fishing ship does end up dying here as the Skylar comes through, and Ulysses will immediately pull back as 2 more Skylar are queued up. 3 more Skylar. Gets one over onto this side as well to start harassing those fishing ships. I almost think that it could be in Ulysses' best interest here to just sack water to some degree. Maybe he can just go for a whole bunch of Goaty and send them over here to defend. But this is going to be one very, very difficult attack to defend given how much stuff he's got. Super low investment from the Skylar side of things. 400 resources if you count the 20 favor as 200 resources there. So 800 resources total to just swim in here, wiggle in here, and just kill everything. And also targeting down the Kraken here first and foremost. This is the best because you're going to start building up those heads because they're doing bonus damage onto the Kraken. Sure, the Kraken's got a little bit more hack armor, but they've already all got two heads here. The Kraken is not going to be winning that fight. Probably would have been best to actually delete the Kraken, all things considered, because now this is basically looking like 6 Krakens, or 6 Skylar on this side. Over onto this side as well. Fishing ships getting cleaned up all over the place. And a curse onto the army here of Ulysses as he has to now pull back. And he's about to be running out of all of his food in this game. Ulysses is getting hit on every single little bit of his economy here. We do see a Zom getting dropped into the main base, and Tiger Boss is going to be in full defensive mode here. Couple more houses coming down for Tiger Boss. That's the military academy. Gets taken out. Archery range as well. Going to be getting knocked down onto this side as the hoplites starting to spam out. Fishing ships on the top, all getting cleaned up, and one Kraken out here with a Goaty. Is that going to be enough? I don't think it's going to be enough. We'll see. I don't think so, no. And the Kraken's going to get even more heads and then just run away. Unless they're not paying attention, in which case they wander over here to their death. They aren't paying attention. So, nice little play there from Ulysses as he's trying to break through this position. Takes down the military academy, going for the jugular here. As the hoplites are a really nice unit to be building against those Jarls. Not many throwing axemen out just yet for Ulysses because he's been having to spam out Goaty and portal rams and things like that. Huskal still trying to bait through this spot, but Ulysses does recognize that he can't manage to do that. The Goaty unfortunately leaving at the moment. There's still a little bit of HP left over here to take out for those Goaty, and the 3 Loch Ness monsters just enjoying the security on that top side of the map. Getting some fishing ships out there wouldn't be a bad idea. He's got nearly 2,000 food though. Doesn't have a market, but dropping a market and then selling resources, it makes sense. One player's got 1,000 gold though, so if you do end up selling all that food for gold, then he can start actually buying some food in himself, and now you're actually in a weird spot where one player needs resources one way, the other needs resources the other way. As the Asgardian Hill Fort does get dropped down, it's just out of the line of sight, but it doesn't clip the gold mine. But it will be nice here for Ulysses to hold this position. 3.6 military resource value. You have to take out the 1,200 here and here. So 1,600 resources. You have to take that off of what Tiger Boss has on the land. There's a huge differential at the moment as now that heavy Jarls comes through, and Tiger Boss trying to get this gold mine. The Asgardian Hill Fort now up as Tempest gets dropped down. Military building is going to be falling behind this. We'll see some military academies over onto the left side there for Tiger Boss. As Ulysses is in full go mode here. All the army over onto this side, popping out mid-Tempest. Not sure what Ulysses is thinking here. He's still going super hard. He's got the Asgardian Hill Fort behind him. He doesn't need to finish the game right now, as Restoration is still on the cards here for Tiger Boss. He drops it down. Ulysses gets it out of there, but now he pulls back to his Hill Fort. And does he have enough stuff here to actually beat these hoplites? He's got to shoot and scoop backwards with those throwing axemen, but not going for it. He's actually going to lose them all to the handful of Peltas that Tiger Boss has. And even with the help of the Asgardian Bastion, is this going to be enough? Throwing axemen are doing a good job of taking out the hoplites. And after he kills off all of these guys, he can actually start garrison microing through the Hill Fort, but he's moving backwards here as units will start falling, and Tiger Boss does need to pull out of here. So Pelta, Ulysses is just maybe doesn't have the resources here to keep up to this fighting. Hoplites are just sort of face tanking into throwing axemen. I mean, actually, if both players not really macroing that well here, if they both spent the resources. In fact, Draugr here would be an amazing unit to be making for, or not even just Draugr, but also the Rock Giants would be an amazing unit to be making right now. The fishing ships for Ulysses also could pop out. He's got 3 here. He can get an extra 3 getting trained out. He's doing that now. As the hoplites over here are falling. It's a ridiculously spicy game right now. If Tiger Boss breaks out of here, I think the economy carries him through. So Ulysses really does need to hold this Asgardian Hill Fort. He's trying to chase down these units here. A fortress maybe for Tiger Boss might be the right idea. He does manage to get himself 1 rock giant. A couple more here would really help. Another Asgardian Hill Fort in the center would also not go astray. He's still trying to break through with the portable rams, though. I'm not sure he's got time to be building these siege weapons anymore. He needs everything on military and on containment usage god powers like Hill Fort, like the Asgardian Hill Fort. Charging forward, we're about to see another restoration available here for Tiger Boss as Ulysses does get his rock giant in. The Huskar charging it onto the backside there as Ulysses has to pull back ever so slightly there. He had a nice little engagement. He can dive through the Asgardian Bastion onto those Peltas. Does a great job of it, going to be able to take those out, but Tiger Boss has so many more units now. As the Peltas can clean up the backline, the army of the Norse is just not able to make it happen versus the restoration and everything else. Ulysses does get a nice little fight here with his throwing axeman, but the Ajax tanking things up. The Chiron coming through. And now Ulysses is actually taking fights not underneath this Asgardian hill fort at all. He's going to lose this one. He's going to allow these villagers to get out just in the nick of time to move into the center of the map. The throw and action here really don't seem to be doing all that well against those hoplites, but the Peltas are there trimming the numbers nice and quickly. As the Asgardian hill fort falls, villagers to move forward and grab the storehouse in the middle. Yeah, Feast of Renown would have been huge because it would have been giving a whole bunch of health back onto the units as well. But he hasn't gone for that one. As he pulls back to his Asgardian hill fort, but now he's down by 2k military resource value. And you just have to remember this is like just a gigantic amount of fishing ship differential. That's 23 fishing ships, I think. Double check it. I can't select it because I'm on the wrong player. Yeah, 23 fishing ships there. So the villager differential is just absolutely gigantic. They literally cost, they're basically worth one villager each, those fishing ships. So just add that on. As the hoplites charging in underneath the hill fort. Too many units here for Ulysses to hold on against, and he does then tap out. It was such a good idea. He had it. He had this idea. I think he just pushed it way too hard. He just had to get more of those. He had so many Asgardian hill forts he could have just put up. He has 180 favor. He could have also gone into more rock giants. He could have got himself there. I think there's just so much stuff he could have done. This idea from Tiger Boss to go for the water as hard as he did with the forward gold mine under threat, that was scary. He almost got very, very much punished for it, but does manage to live through in game number 2, and he does now move up to 2-0 here in this best of 5. So we'll move into game number 3 and see if Ulysses can bring it back. Alrighty. So our third game here is going to be on what map? I imagine Ulysses picks Giza because he did pick it, but we will see. And it is Giza. All right, it's going to be Tsukiyomi versus Poseidon. Let's go. Alrighty, in the top, it is a Ulysses playing as Poseidon. And on the bottom, it is going to be Tiger Boss playing as Tsukiyomi. Alright, let me walk you through my take on this matchup. 2 TC doesn't really work. 1 TC doesn't really work. What do you do here with Poseidon is the big question. I really don't have a great answer. I think this is what... Did we see this one already? Yes, we saw this with Ulysses versus Shelty actually, and I believe Shelty dropped the watchtowers down. So you can't even go for light pressure into a town center either because life gets really, really challenging. So what do you do here with Poseidon? I wonder if there's any like fast heroic ideas that make some sense here. Reason being is you rush in with your Atalanta, get pressure on with the Centaur early on like you normally do, get to the heroic age with Curse. That's going to take out a whole bunch of the enemy units that are causing you problems. You got Ceasefire to keep yourself going as well, right? And then maybe you're going to start going into some Prodromus there. That sort of makes a little bit of sense. Gives you a little bit more time on your gold mine in the main base. You don't have to move out. You can have a great counter for those cavalry units that are getting spammed. Forces the Tsukiyomi player to go away from their cavalry. And then also, if for whatever reason the Tsukiyomi player says, hey, you're staying one town center, let's go fast heroic ourselves for things like Tengu and Hachiman, then Well, at least you've got an extra hero to deal with the Tengu. I could be onto something here for the Poseidon. We'll see what Ulysses is going to be going for. Over on this side, we've got the Blanket of Empress Zoe. This is going to be damage vulnerability to crush minus 15%. Into the center of the map, we have Shennong's Okra Whip, which is going to be plus 5% for the farms. Per upgrade, you add on Grass Cutting Sword here, which is infantry movement speed plus 5%. That is a nice relic there for any infantry lover. And finally, Archimedes' Ledger, going to be population usage minus 1. Nonetheless, Hermes, the god of choice, in the main base here for Tiger Boss. He has himself just the one Mikor. And I think this is also very true here. Oh, he's getting a second one. I think you really don't want to go for too many Mikor early on here with Tsukiyomi against Poseidon, because you do have that problem of getting rushed. And it is difficult to defend. So you got to be careful with it. He gets his temple up, gets his Miko out, going to be advancing. And already all coming. No surprises there. But nonetheless, Ulysses now, he's got 2 villages on the favor. He's going to be going for some center. Charging out across the map. As he get himself a Atalanta, he's just about to have the gold for it. He's got some wood for some stables and things like that. Also for an extra center, which he will grab immediately for the early pressure. Charging in here as the Mikor is just going to say, no, I don't want to play with you, Theseus. You can fight my villager. I will heal my villager back up. This is not a fight for you. You don't want to take this fight. As the myth unit's going to spawn over onto this side. Theseus trying to charge in and take those out just there. But now the center in. Oh, and a beautiful idea from Tiger Boss. He was hiding the Mikor inside of the tower for when that centaur comes through. He doesn't manage to snipe it, but a great defensive resource there. I love the little cheeky sentry tower shenanigans there. Just garrisoning a hero and your opponent charges in with a pretty weak unit. Speedy, weak unit. It's the Mikor going to do some more garrison shenanigans. Trying to chase after this centaur here. As the Atalanta coming through, will join in and be a big help on this side as the Kitsune going to go down. Atalanta in to take down one of the Mikors here. And that one at least will get sniped. The other one over here going to be going down, as well as the cavalry stables. They're up. 2 Mikor snipes there. Absolutely huge from Ulysses early game. As he does have his own stable up now, and he is going to be making some Hippias. As well as Tiger Boss drops a guardhouse. Probably just for Bushi to deal with these centaur. Picks off 1 villager. Surprisingly, there was 3 Mikor out. I was saying you probably don't even need more than 1 in the Archaic Age, and Tiger Boss is just pumping them out. He is brutalizing his economy to get these Mikors out. One of the big reasons for it is just healing. Because you're going to take so much damage from the centaur, or like damage over time from the centaur, and if you can just erase that, then you're good to go. Is this shrine looking to get taken down more? Naginata riders to come through. And the other thing here is, though, for Poseidon is you don't really want to be fighting this Japanese here. These Naginata riders, you just want to stay away from them if you can. You really want to stay away from them. And now the Bushi are here. And I think Ulysses probably just foot off the gas off to the Heroic Age. Like now is completely fine. He has dropped the second stable. He doesn't need to. He can just pull off this, come back over onto the chickens, rush up to the next age, keep on poking. No need to like lose anything, but just keep like exerting pressure until the Naginata riders decide it's time to actually come and raid. And then once they get into your base, you ceasefire or you click and curse, and you're good to go. I really think I'm onto something here, guys. Someone has to try it. Shrine goes down over there. Bushi on this side, getting chased down. And Ulysses continuing to get just little bits of damage done as Tiger Boss very much stuck in his base for the time being. That's a great answer for the Centaur. He's got a great answer for the Hippias at the moment as the Juragumo to charge forward. Definitely don't want to be face tanking those heroes there, but he picks up one Hippias. Does he manage to throw it? He does. So that's going to be a dead Hippias. Sacrificing herself for one Hippias is going to be enough here to actually break through and force Ulysses out of here. Now beyond this, Sashimono Bannerman going to be coming in. Onwards and upwards, we have the Winged Messenger coming through for Ulysses as well. And Ulysses wanders around onto this side. Looking to maybe take a fight or something over here as one Miko does end up falling. But Ulysses, he just seems to have like not very much stuff here. He's getting damage done, but like I said, every single time this splash damage kind of comes through, Tiger Boss is just pulling back and healing up with the Miko, and he's just not getting anything done with these guys. In fact, he's out on secondary hunt, and this hasn't been touched at all. The Pegasus is in for Ulysses. He has not spotted it just yet. Now he sees the villagers over there, but there's plenty of units in as the Bushi sitting in a fantastic spot there to just snipe centaurs. And he literally just keeps making Miko. Like, look at the villager differential. Like, he hasn't picked off I don't think Ulysses has actually picked off a single villager here in this game, and he's in front by 5 villagers. And that's just because of the Miko spammage. Obviously, Tiger Boss here, incredibly valuing the amount of effective resources he gets from healing with these bad girls. These guys are insane. There is also that Sashimono Bannerman tech. Now medium Naginata Riders is in. We see some hoplites getting built to add to the army here to try and deal with those Naginata Riders. Yeah, the Bushi are really, really good versus the Centaur because they've got themselves 18 range. So it makes it pretty difficult to actually use those Centaur effectively. The advantage of the Centaur is that speed. As Swampland gets dropped down and Ulysses pulls out, he loses maybe 1 or 2 units, but that's enough to make... I don't even know why he's trying to fight here still. Kind of face tanking into this Japanese powerhouse of an army. As a hoplite's falling. And Ulysses will try and pull back up into his main base. He's so far behind now. He doesn't have medium upgrades. He doesn't have medium hoplites. On the other side, we see Hachiman coming through here for Tiger Boss. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's already got... No, he doesn't have the army upgrades. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's just going to go for them right away. There he goes. Copper shields, copper weapons, copper armor. He's got a military advantage, so going straight in onto these armory upgrades and then dropping New Moon there is just going to be overwhelming for the amount of advantage that Tiger Boss has already managed to find in this game. Also, behind by... I mean, he was behind by 5 villages, right? He's just found... I don't know. He's just found so much advantage here. Just with the Miko defense, healing everything. As Ulysses pokes in on the right, the left. Nothing to see here. Daimyo on the way for Tiger Boss, as well as the Ulysses army pulling back over onto this side. Now the Daimyo comes through. Shogun is in. The upgrades just about to finish up. That copper shield's just about to finish up. And then he will be dropping that New Moon onto the armory, it looks like. Doesn't have... He's only got the one Miko on the shrine. He's only had one Miko on a shrine for the entirety of the game. He's had 2 shrines, but he got killed. So, basically, one Miko on the shrine for the entirety of the game. As the upgrades now come through, gets himself that ballistics in. The hoplites are charging in here, ready to take a big fight. And you can see that Heavy is almost through now for Tiger Boss. As the Naginata Riders now coming in onto this spot. Those hoplites should be a half-decent answer for the Shogun here. Should be. But good control there from Tiger Boss to pull that one back. Going to split that up. It's 5.5 speed, so the Centaur can simply just run. And now it's out of the fight, but it doesn't matter because Heavy has hit for Tiger Boss. And Ulysses is in an incredibly difficult position now. There's even now a Samurai in for free from that Shogun. It's not very much, but still anything is something. As the hoplites continuing to try and take these fights here. But with the addition of Samurai and all of the advantage, the armory upgrades, Shogun smacks one Centaur for one Samurai. Still trying to get more. Hoplite over there falling. And Ulysses seems to be very much dead in this game. He does have ceasefire, but I mean, what really can you do with ceasefire? Get yourself your armory upgrades at the very least. He doesn't even have an armory in at the moment. And Ulysses there, unfortunately for him, does tap out in the 13 minute 55 second of this game. And Tiger Boss, in dominating fashion, takes out Ulysses. And I believe he's actually finished his group already. I think he literally just sped run his group. I could be wrong, but I think he sped run his group. I think he has literally 3-0'd everyone in 1 week, which is wild, considering we've got some players who haven't even played their first game. Congratulations to you, to Tiger Boss. Better luck next time for Ulysses. I think he's got 1 game left to play in his group stage. So we'll see how he's going to go with that one. Actually, does he? Ulysses might be finished too. I'm not even sure. Let's check the graph for this game, sure. Yeah, funnily enough, this villager differential here, this resource differential just does not feel like it's that much. Especially because you see the civilian unit difference it's pretty big. I think it was because there was so many, there's only 3 villagers on favor. I don't know. Something weird going on here for Ulysses, unfortunately. Not exactly sure what happened on the economic side of things, but did not work out for him. Anyways, we're going to be moving into another series here in about 10 minutes. So we're going to have the shortest of breaks, and we're going to get back into it in about 10 minutes. So don't you guys go nowhere. Going to be losing big on this fight. It looks like the Spearman coming in onto the back line. The throw and action, great control there from Hell's Ravage. But does it matter? I don't think it does matter. Hell's head first into this army, loses the entirety of his raiding cavalry force. The choke point was too insanely powerful. And all of a sudden, Hell's Ravage is the one on the defense. As 3DB manages to clean the army, Gullenbursty is in, trying to take out these units here. The Tempest on top of all of these units, is it going to be enough, is the question. All of those Hippias seem to be melting to the Herdman. The Cyclops also getting frozen up here, but Hell's army does seem to have taken some significant damage. Looks like the infantry are out of position. The Caraballista are getting collapsed onto here, as this is a huge fight now for Hell's Ravage. He gets himself a Draugr over onto the side. There's no answer for the throwing axe for now, as all the Caraballista are getting demolished, as even with that beautiful choke point, it's just not going to be enough. Use this one, he charges through. You have to keep going. He doesn't go over the Carabalista. Does not get that value as the Terma trying to get onto the back line there, but they are in a pretty good position there. Carabalista here getting some big damage on as the Yahtzee to charge forward. Yet again, B trying to take this fight off of Lush as the Tawu does go down. Population-wise now, however, it is looking like B is managing to hold on. The Terma are doing work on that backline, and Hell's Ravager's army melts there. Is this going to be... Surely not. He's going to be dropping Earth Wall on the front here. Really? That's wild. He's got it set up. He's getting the double military camp up. The Force Eddy is on the way. Earthwall gets dropped down. You could bring the villagers over here to shank this wall down, but Nullus, he says, I don't have it. I don't have that in me. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to pull my dwarves over and look, the Cheongchi is already in here. Mini Yeti pulls off the cheese of his life right now. Upgrades. The Raizu goes down immediately. There's the Thunderburst. The Fey Beast gets dropped down onto the back army here. As it looks like Adopessu says, I am just going to face tank this. Tries to stay back, but that allows the Samurai to get on top of this army. The population for Adopessu looks like it's dropping, but the military population here is still very, very high. The Taltier to pull back will almost get sniped by that Bushy there. It does end up going down. The entirety of Adopessu's army gets obliterated there from that one maneuver from Nyan. And Adopessu says, that's the game. He's going to have to micro this really, really well. He doesn't have the heroes on this spot. Maybe deleting the Ajax and building them up here wouldn't be a bad idea. Restoration coming through. The medium Peltas in. The Sentinels. A second Sentinels actually to come through as well to help attempt to hold this position here. The Tawu goes down. The town center up in the middle of the map, in the middle of the base for Nyan does go up. Population-wise, it is looking like Adopessu is holding for the moment, but the Yinglong almost down, does end up falling here. And Adopessu just needs to take everything else out, but the John Wick on top of those Peltas takes them all down, but there's still this big fat fortress holding on for dear life here. Yang Wick is now down to 170 HP, about to fall. The town center is up, obviously the fortress is through. This big fat axe cart coming in now. But that one's going to get taken down here by the hoplites and everything else. And so far, so good for Adopessu. He holds. He's up to 3 town centers. He did lose some villages. But Nyan, the big push has been denied. He doesn't have access. Does he have the timing in? 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Carnivora drops down. And he shockwaves, and I thought it was a fail. He shockwave. I thought it was a fail. Oh my god. But now, Hell's Wrath. Imagine Forest Fire. He doesn't have the favor for a recast. The Wadgets caught out. 3DB here is going to be losing big on this fight. It looks like the Spearmen coming in onto the back line. They're throwing axe from great control there from Hell's Ravage. But does it matter? I don't think it does matter. Hell's head first into this army, loses the entirety of his raiding cavalry force. The choke point was too insanely powerful. And all of a sudden, Hell's Ravage is the one on the defense as 3DB manages to clean the army. Gullenbursty is in, trying to take out these units here. The Tempest on top of all of these units, is it going to be enough is the question. All of those Hippias seem to be melting to the Herdman. The Cyclops also getting frozen up here, but Hell's army does seem to have taken some significant damage. Looks like the infantry are out of position. The Carabalista are getting collapsed onto here. As this is a huge fight now for Hell's Ravage. He gets himself a Draugr over onto the side. There's no answer for the throwing axe for now, as all the Carabalista are getting demolished as even with that beautiful choke point, it's just not going to be enough. Use this one. He charges through. You have to keep going. He doesn't go over the Caraballas. It does not get that value as the Terma trying to get onto the back line there, but they are in a pretty good position there. Caraballas here getting some big damage on as the Yahtzee to charge forward. Yet again, B trying to take this fight off of Lush as the Tawu does go down. Population-wise now, however, it is looking like B is managing to hold on. The Terma are doing work on that backline, and Hell's Ravager's army melts there. Is this going to be... Surely not. He's going to be dropping Earth Wall on the front here. Really? That's wild. He's got it set up. He's getting the double military camp up. The force city is on the way. Earth Wall gets chopped down. You could bring the villagers over here to shank this wall down, but Nullus, he says, I don't have it. I don't have that in me. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to pull my dwarves over to and look, the Cheongchi is already in here. Mini Yeti pulls off the cheese of his life right now. Upgrades. The Raiju goes down immediately. There's the Thunderburst. The Fey Beast gets dropped down onto the back army here. As it looks like Adopessu says, I am just going to face tank this. Tries to stay back, but that allows the Samurai to get on top of this army. The population for Adopessu looks like it's dropping, but the military population here is still very, very high. The Taltier to pull back will almost get sniped by that Bushy there. It does end up going down. The entirety of Adopessu's army gets obliterated there from that one maneuver from Nyan. And Adopessu says, that's the game. He's going to have to micro this really, really well. He doesn't have the heroes on this spot. Maybe deleting the Ajax and building them up here wouldn't be a bad idea. Restoration coming through. The medium Peltas in. The Sentinels. A second Sentinels actually to come through as well to help attempt to hold this position here. The Tawu goes down. The town center up in the middle of the map, in the middle of the base for Nyan does go up. Population-wise, it is looking like Adopessu is holding for the moment, but the Yinglong almost down, does end up falling here. And Adopessu just needs to take everything else out, but the John Wick on top of those Peltas takes them all down, but there's still this big fat fortress holding on for dear life here. Yang Wick is now down to 170 HP, about to fall. The town center is up, obviously the fortress is through. This big fat axe cart coming in now. But that one's going to get taken down here by the hoplites and everything else. And so far, so good for Adopessu. He holds. He's up to 3 town centers. He did lose some villages. But Nyan, the big push has been denied. He doesn't have access. Does he have the timing in? 10 seconds, 9 seconds, 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Carnivora drops down. And he shockwaves and I thought it was a fail. He shockwaved. I thought it was a fail. Oh my God. But now, Hell's Wrath. Imagine Forest Fire. He doesn't have the favor for a recast. The Wadgets caught out. 3DB here is going to be losing big on this fight. It looks like the Spearmen coming in onto the back line. The throw and axe with great control there from Hell's Wrath. What's happening, y'all? Another day, another you, another me. I have no idea what is going on because I have seen one. I got one letter from Matreiuss as a response to me asking for the draft. I've seen nothing out of Mosca. They're both online. They're both probably staring, waiting to see. Hang on. I'm just going to go ahead and say, at Matreiuss, you are the host. Please send the drafts. And we got to make them start. Clock's ticking. People are waiting for games. We've all been fooled before. Fool me once, etc. Are you guys talking about the Naginata versus Hippias interaction? Well, look, I told you how to play that matchup. I've already figured it out. I had the solutions. I have the knowledge. So you just have to do what I said, and that's it. Anyways. I don't think you can really get tempo from hoplites though, right? I don't think hoplites are a fantastic thing to open. But maybe you're right, actually. I do remember getting absolutely dominated by a berserk opening when I played as Tsukiyomi. I do remember that vividly. So maybe it could work. Definitely would be better with the old Zeus than anything else. But alrighty, we're gonna have Matreiuss. Oh, I don't have him added in. We're gonna have Matreiuss. You'd think I'd be able to spell it by now, but it's always difficult. IT. Alrighty. So it's Matreiuss and Mosca today. Two incredibly heavy-hitting players. These guys are both ridiculously good. I'm going to jump over to the draft to see if they've... I mean, Matreiuss is ready. I don't know if Mosca's here yet, but we'll see. Well, I could be wrong. But they have already drafted. That was the quickest draft I've ever seen in my entire life. Alrighty. Fantastic. So. You guys are good to start when you're ready. Please put delay 3 mins and you'll... Alright. Start. I'll do it a bit. Okay, this is kind of cool. There's some pretty... That's a pretty interesting draft here. I'm not actually surprised about the Matreiuss draft. He goes for his Poseidon first and foremost. But it's also... Here's the thing with Matreiuss going Poseidon first, which is wild. Because he's host, he risks it for the biscuit. He goes, I'll take... Actually... I think in hindsight, he should have taken the Tsukiyomi first. Because he could have gone Tsukiyomi Poseidon. I think he probably should have. Anyways, it doesn't matter. He gets what he wants. He gets Poseidon, he gets Tsukiyomi. He gets the 2 cavalry gods. He loves the cavalry gods. Absolutely loves me. He even picks Odin. I think this might be the first serious Norse picked in... I mean, he's picked far down the draft, but the first serious Norse picked in the group stage thus far. I haven't really seen... In fact, I'm interested in what the stats are on this. I am very interested in what the stats are. Let me have a quick look. If we go over to the esports thing, I don't know if this is already done or not. Let me go here. Let me click here. No, there's nothing in here yet. We cannot get the stats on how many Norse gods have been picked. No stats allowed for us. They're not in a game, are they? They're not in game. Surely not. I don't know. Yeah, there's no group stats yet. Gerbot's been asleep at the wheel. Thanks for the raid there, Dagon. We're going to be getting this game started momentarily, I think. Oop, hello there. Thank you. They're just toasting up now, so no problems. I'm not sure what the god's gonna be for the first map on thing, but we're just gonna play it by ear. We're just gonna play it by ear. I'm not gonna guess. They haven't put the god picker into my chat yet, but it's fine. When the player make their pull, the god on the right, Poseidon, is their first choice. Yeah. So, I'll do it like this. So this is the first picks for both players, right? Then this is the second pick, and these then become the second picks over here, and then this is the third pick. And this is the third pick. And then this is the fourth pick. And this is the fourth pick. Oh, and this happens between the bands happen between the things. But yeah. If that makes any sense. That's good. Anyone who's joining in now is gonna be like, what have you done with those numbers, boy? And I'll just be like, I'm sorry. Wait, can I undo them? Okay, I can. Let's erase. A little bit of a rubber here. So first map's on Ghost Lake. If I'm playing this... if I'm playing this one as Matreiuss with Matreiuss' god pool, which gods do I think would be good here? Set's okay on this map. Set's fine here. Poseidon is fine here. I don't know about Tsukiyomi here. I don't know about Odin here. Hades is fine here as well. On the flip side there for Mosca, he's got Isis, Shinong, Fushi. Gaia's also fine on the map. Don't know about Susanoo or Loki. I just don't know. They might be fine. Actually, Mosca also picking a Loki in this thing. We've got actually 2 Norses. Maybe the Norses are fine after all. Maybe they're fine. And everyone's just been going crazy for no reason. Then again, Mosca could just be trying to ban that away from Matreiuss and take one of the gods he wants to take last, because he's probably got a whole list of gods he's happy with. But anyways, game 1, Ghost Lake. Can't tell you what they're playing because they didn't tell me. Wait, maybe I can see. Hold on. It could be an Odin versus Shinong affair. Sometimes AOM Stats lies to me, though. Sometimes AOM Stats lies to me, which feels bad. But it is what it is. All right. Well, we've got about 30 seconds until we're into game number 1. As I said, these guys, this is going to be a really, really good series. You guys better like buckle up, get your seatbelts tightened, make sure you're ready for some craziness here. Both of these guys, they are at the top of the game. Like I said, this group is like the group of death. We're in the Loki division. I think this might even be the first game we've seen from the Loki division. No, we saw Mini Yeti versus Matador, which is also an explosive series. I think, yeah, this is the group that looks to be like the closest in terms of like the skill level for everyone in the group. Like anyone can beat anyone in this group. Like when you look at group 1, you see the Mister or something playing, you go, well, Mister's probably going to win that one. You see group 2, you see Kavoth there, you're like, well, Kavoth's probably going to win that one. You see group 3, you see Recon, you're like, well, Recon's probably going to win that one. But this one, I got no idea. It could be Matreiuss, it could be Mosca, it could be Mini Yeti, it could be Matador. Let's find out and see how these guys are going to play as we get into game number 1. Matreiuss, Mosca for the Loki division. And here we go in the right-hand corner of the map, playing as the blue Shenong. His name is Mosca. I say right-hand corner. He's in the bottom right, so right-hand corner. On the right side of the top of the screen. On the left side of the top of the screen, and the top left of the map. His name is Matreiuss, and he's playing some Odin for us. This will be very spicy. Matreiuss is a player who is actually really used to Norse being very difficult to work with. He is one of the few players that kind of managed to make people scared of Norse in Legacy. There's a very few amount of players that actually managed to really do that. You got like, the list is tiny. Like Mr. sort of did some stuff with Odin to make Odin feel really good on Legacy. Matreiuss did it with Loki. Maybe you could argue Shelty did it with Thor for a little bit before that sort of got nipped in the bud, so to speak, and he went back to playing Uranus. But I'm excited to see what Matreiuss is going to do here with Odin on this map. He is up against Shenong, and we do see Mosca here going for the Shenong farms. And as we see the Shenong farms on top of the town center, I must start with my obligatory, why do this when you could put the farms around the gold mine? I have to say it. I can't not say it. It's part of my job. I am contractually obliged to call out farms on the town center instead of farms on the gold mine. I have to. Relics on the map. Over here, we've got ourselves the Tar's Scepter. That's going to be wood and gold cost reduced for the farms, which is nice. Up on this side, there is the Scales of Echidna, making some myth units really cheap. Very, very nice relic over here. Over onto this side, there is the Dwarven Horseshoes, which is going to be the cavalry movement speed plus 5%. And finally, there's the Titan's Treasure, which is going to be making that age up a little bit cheaper. Now, all of this being said, we are watching a 1 gold mine ghost lake. And it's a 1 gold mine ghost lake with about 6 large gold mines on the map. So it's not a small... Sorry, 8 large gold mines on the map. So it's not a small amount of large gold mines. The problem is this is a perfect, an absolutely perfect map for Mosca to be really, really aggressive on. He's got a nice little wood line here to defend himself. Can get a nice wall here, maybe a wall over here. Start building defenses over onto this side. You can see that he drops his house not connected to the wood line here, so it's not going to die to any sort of forest fire. Sort of playing around everything at the start. So we do see Chiao on the way. My head's a good relic. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that. That means a lot. And we are seeing Freya coming through as well. There is a argument here that potentially going for Heimdall could be the better option in this matchup, on the fact that you don't really want to fight in the classical age against the Chiao Shenong. So if you're going to play for towers and play for defenses and sort of say, if you want to come and kill me, you have to get through my towers. It does slow you down a little bit, but slowing you down a little bit is better than you being dead. So we'll see. As the Herser start making their way out, grabbing the Dwarven Horseshoes, doing all the other good stuff. Up onto this spot, military camp coming up for Mosca. As the Yahtzee now out and going to be looking for a little bit of pressure. You got to be careful with this bad boy early on because the Valkyrie will be there to stop it. Now, obviously, that's a good reason to go for Freya over going for Heimdall. So he gets his Valkyrie. Does have to be somewhat careful. Can't send it off. And he does spot that Yahtzee coming straight in here as the Valkyrie will turn around and start getting those shots off Mosca. He's going to be throwing that one away here. How much on the cooldown for this guy? Might actually fall before anything sort of happens. Forest fire into the main base there as well. As Berserk going after some villagers. Not able to pick anything off. Does go for a little cheeky ghost building with the house, but it's not enough to make it happen. But Mosca gets away 16 HP with that Yahtzee. And all of that work from Matreiuss, not exactly gone to waste, but that Yahtzee is going to be back to up to full HP very, very quickly. What Matreiuss gets from that is some favor. He's up to 12 favor now. You get favor from attacking with that Valkyrie. It's doing a lot of damage onto the Yahtzee, so he is now up to 12. So he can't be too upset, but definitely would have been nice to actually kill off that one. What do I think about the forest fire on the villagers? Well, at least Matreiuss was trying to block the villagers and get something happening there. Oftentimes you just see someone charge in there with a Valkyrie and just pray that they get a villager kill. At least he was trying to trap the villagers on the forest. But the Berserk has overstayed his welcome and will get taken out as the Qualfu numbers are still slowly starting to increase here. Lots and lots of gold in the bank as the raiding cavalry starting to amass. And this is something to be very careful with. He's going to try and take out some villagers over onto this side. So they make a run for the wood line. Nice little house coming up on that side for Mosca to just protect his villagers, not allowing Matreiuss to dive in here. Great defense from Mosca. But one thing to think about here now for Matreiuss is if he can bait out Halberdier mass, like enough of these, he can think about going heroic age here. He can think about setting up something else, like maybe getting it, like just like any sort of thing which the Halberdier aren't going to be good at. They're not good at like attacking you, right? They can't really put that revenge onto you unless you mass in a whole bunch of raiding cavalry. As you do see an armory now for Matreiuss, so he does have these ideas in the back of his head. He's going to be looking for a heroic age here as Longhouse comes in. Is, however, still building a handful more raiding cavalry. But I do think it's important not to overcommit on these guys in this matchup. Overcommitting onto the raiding cavalry, they're just not going to help you in the main fight. It's plain and simple. They're just not going to help you in the main fight. The Halberdier are going to be too much. Did they scout the back hunt? Yeah, both players have their scout back there, seeing what's happening, so they can move on to that one. There's still boars getting eaten at this stage in the game, so Mosca really hasn't been getting himself that much food early on. He's just been slowly massing up his army, gets himself a decent amount of fire archers. He does have to be careful, though. He doesn't have the Halberdier numbers out that you would expect. Starting to mass up on this wood line as Matreiuss is attempting to sneak through around the back. He's done a good job of staying outside of the line of sight and getting as close to the base as he possibly can here. But realistically, he does need to wait. He doesn't know that there's units over here. There's actually not that many. Charges forward and says, I can take this. Turns onto the Archer. Going to be trying to take out the Pioneer as well here, as the Valkyrie is on top of the Halberdier for the moment. We'll be able to almost take out that Yatza there as it's pulling back, trying to stay alive. Doesn't manage to do so. Gets onto the farm there. What a defensive resource from Mosca. There's also this Halberdier. Will it be able to snipe the raiding cavalry? Doesn't quite manage to pick it off into this position now. The Longhouse going to be going down. As the watchtowers here starting to come up for Matreiuss. And this will be a little bit of a defense. Matreiuss here still has himself great hunt in his back pocket, as he's gone pretty heavy actually in onto Berserks here. He hasn't shown this just yet. Does he have himself the upgrade for them? He doesn't. This upgrade is really, really important because it can help him against those myth units a little bit as well. The tower will be slowly taking some units out. The raiding cavalry coming in onto the back. The Berserks onto the front. There is lightning weapons here, which is pretty scary. And I think Mosca will be needing to drop it. His army gets surrounded. Lightning weapons comes down and immediately Matreiuss pulls back. A couple of units get stunned up. He will be able to pull back into his main base, but he loses so many units. And now Matreiuss is going to have to overcome the fact that he's about to lose his tower on the front, which means he's going to lose those houses, which is a lot more resources lost. Houses on the back going to be coming up in response here. The town center helping out a little bit, sniping some units there as they get a little bit too close. And now we do have that Hamask coming in. It's a great idea. Hamask Berserks to raid this slow Chinese army does play around that Halberdiers as well. The only problem is that the Huskal, not the Huskal, the Berserks, just, they won't be that helpful in a real fight. As onto the back here, the Great Hunt gets used onto those Caribou, it looks like. Wait, does it? I think so. I think you used it onto the Caribou there. He's just moving into the main base now. Raiding cavalry and berserk in. Is the Qualfu about to finish up on that gold mine over there? Villagers get pulled back. Mosca's defense is just on another planet here. He's just blocking everything up. There's no way in here. The walls are up over there, taking down the temple in the main base. And now Matreiuss has got a problem. He has 0 gold income. And he has to be thinking, where does he go? And Mosca sees the gold mine gone now. He knows it's not there. He can start setting up in the center of the map, sending lanterns this way, and whichever way Matreiuss decides to go, he will spot it. It's 1,000 resource military differential. Now, if you're going to take this fight, may as well bring some villagers in to help out. But Matreiuss says, let's go. As the fire archers need to be focusing down those berserks. Throwing axe, we need to be taking out those infantry units. There's no medium upgrades in for Matreiuss either. As his army, is it enough here? Is the big question. And I think the answer is a resounding yes, as Matreiuss does decide, okay, game is over. Was not able to get anything really happening here. He could have dropped the market, sold resources for a little bit to try and break out while raiding the villagers over here to make up for the fact he's selling. Probably would have been an angle to continue in this one, but that lightning weapons, that economy, look at this differential on economy and see if you can... It's actually quite close. It's actually quite close. But yeah, a tough one here. It's a tough one to break through that lightning weapons. Like, the fact of the matter is they drop lightning weapons and you're like, okay, I'll run, right? But the halberdier are sticking the raiding cavalry down. So if any of those are getting caught out, they die. Then the stun coming in onto any of those infantry units. So those are going to die. So regardless, you're going to lose a bunch of units on that fight. And then you're just playing from behind, which does mean you got to find the rage. You got to snipe these guys. You got to be over here sniping these guys. But at this level, with Mosca being this good, it's so very, very tough to get those raids off. But first game going to Mosca. We'll see if Matreiuss can bring it back for game number 2. Let's jump over to the draft and see what we can see. Alrighty, so we're going in onto the game 2, which is on step. Not exactly sure what the matchup is just yet, but that's okay. I'll give the win to Shenong and the loss to Odin. Yeah, so step here, you can kind of play anything. Any of these gods that Matreiuss has, probably with the exception of Hades, is a good god on this map. He can go Poseidon, no problem. He can go Skyomi, no problem. Set is fine. Ra is fine. Mosca, on the other hand, Isis is fine. Fushi is fine. Susanoo is probably good here as well. Guy is probably a no-good. No-go. Why is Susanoo fine here? Well, Susanoo's fine here because he's going to be able to do his god power spammage against most gods. And he's also got a nice open map to be raiding early game with Kusanagi spammage. Halberdier are a 5x multiplier. Yeah, they're counter cavalry unit. I think you guys would be a little surprised if you were to play any of the other Age of Empires games. Yeah, I'm not going to get into it. What does Catapulti get? It's about the same. I think the Catapulti does more damage to Cav than the Halberdier does. Maiden, you like Age of Empires too. What do you think about the interaction between the Spearman and the Scout Cav? Pretty sure the Spearman 3 hits a Scout Cav from memory. It's like the thing is with those cavalry units is that why do anti-cav units need to have high multipliers versus cavalry units? Well, the reason is because the cavalry units are quite quick, so they can choose when they want to take fights and when they don't want to take fights. So the anti-cav units are kind of just sitting there hoping that they're going to be able to poke the cav a little bit, right? That's always been the interaction. Just got back into AOM since pre-Chinese release. The 44-month-old Fushi guide still good. I would recommend at the moment Husk Soup's guides for build orders. That's my recommendation for the moment. But nonetheless, we're going to be getting into game number 2 here, as it's Mosca on Gaia and Matreiuss on Tsukiyomi. Let's go. Alrighty, in the bottom left of the map, it is Mosca playing as Gaia, and in the top right of the map, it is Matreiuss playing as Tsukiyomi. So a little bit of the Japanese making a return here. I think Matreiuss was maybe banned in the draft because I don't think that one's been picked. So we're not going to be seeing that in this series, but both the Tsukiyomi and the Susanoo have been selected for this tournament series. So we're going to be able to probably see both of those in this series. Nonetheless, let's check out the relics and we'll talk about the matchup. We've got the 9-tailed fox charm here. Up onto this side, there is the Tower of Cestus. Over onto this position, there is the Eye of Ornlu, which is going to be that damage and melee attack plus 5%. And finally, there is Harmonia's Necklace, which is going to be villager gather rate for gold plus 10%. So let's talk about the matchup. What can we see here? So first and foremost, you have to be worried. The first thing that we'll talk about it from the Gaia side. The first thing Gaia needs to be worried about here is fighting against cavalry. Now, Murmillo are perfectly fine to build versus cavalry, but they're not like as good as Catapultes. So you do have yourself wanting to go into Catapultes here to take out those cavalry. But also maybe you want to go into Murmillos, which then means if you go into Murmillos or Catapultes, then the Tsukiyomi player is saying, okay, well, if you're going to build those, well, we want to build ourselves some samurai. And then if you get the samurai out, then the Gaia player has to go, okay, well, what do we build? We can't just keep making Murmillo versus the samurai, so they have to make Karabalista. Then you get Murmillo Karabalista, which is a little bit difficult to control and to basically defend the Karabalista versus the Naginata Riders, which is why you need the Catapultes. Right? So that's one angle here. Just thinking about the rock, paper, scissors side of things. If we, however, do go into the rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock side of things, where we've got some myth units and heroes involved, now we can start thinking about things like, ooh, what if we go Murmillo Stymphalian Bird? All of a sudden we have an answer for the samurai. Our opponent is going to be making himself Naginata Rider Samurai. He's not going to have any answers for our range units. He has to make himself those Bushi, of which we can then say, great, we'll just make ourselves some Terma there. So you find yourself another really, really important unit to sort of help you out in that situation. There's a whole bunch of other things to think about. This game is ridiculously deep. So we'll see what's going to happen here. Matreiuss, he loves a good cavalry spam. So I would be surprised to see him open anything other than that. And we are actually going to be seeing the Leto actually from Mosca kick this one off, which I like as well because this allows him, I don't know if he's going to do this, I'm just throwing out an idea. But it does allow him to play a very defensive game where if cavalry or samurai start rushing for them, those spider eggs can play a great role in defending the base. Nonetheless, Inari Okami is in guardhouse immediately for Matreiuss is incredibly strange and not what I predicted to see in the slightest here. I am confused. And a dojo as well. Huh? Hello? Matreiuss is playing the cavalry god and he is not making cavalry. How dare you? You're not allowed to do that. That's illegal. But Leto is now in. The automaton is out. There is 4 oracles out at the moment for Mosca. He's just popping them around his base. Kitsune will be searching for these guys. This is the hard part about oracles and stuff like this for Atlantean. You actually have to heroize them versus the Kitsune because they can just run around the map and just snipe them all down. The one Bushi coming out as a defense here for Matreiuss. And one on the Musha as well. An armory now coming down for Mosca as Mosca is going for a fast heroic. Am I just right on what Mosca... I don't know if Mosca's going for Stymphalian birds here. I don't know. But it does make sense. But I thought he would probably make some units as well. He's going for a little bit of extra favor with the perception on the way. Matreiuss, on the other hand, is going to be taking his time. Throws an armory up the top. So both players are going for their fast heroic here. And that Thea now is through. So a nice quick heroic age. Now, even if Matreiuss clicks this one a little bit later, he's got about, what is it, 20-something seconds? He's got about 20-something seconds to be equal on the tech because he has a little bit of a faster advance time. It's like 50-something seconds versus the 75. Maybe it's 59 seconds. I can't remember. See, Onnamusha over on this side. Matreiuss has got himself 1 shrine. He's got 3 shrines out. 3 shrines, a huge amount of favor coming through. As the Spider Lair God Power just getting spammed all on this second gold mine. I love this play. This is really smart because it means he's setting up to be ready to go onto this gold mine and survive. And he's sort of all in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's so many dead units here. And Mosca is just going to keep layering spider eggs here on cooldown. As the military barracks are all coming down, we will see a Mosca Manor coming over onto this position now to grab the gold mine. Now, the other big thing here to think about... is that the Stymphalian birds, if this is what... He's either going for mass Spider Lairs, which I like the idea, or he's going for Stymphalian birds. The Stymphalian birds don't have a weakness versus the Shogun, which is normally the problem. Normally why you can't go myth units versus a fast heroic or a Hachiman is because of that Shogun. You can't go myth units versus it because he'll just turn them into samurai. It makes life really, really tough. As Matreiuss now going up to the heroic age. He's got himself the Hachiman. The Stymphalian birds flapping around, trying to find something to snipe. Going all over the map. And this is such a strange game. I don't even know what we're watching at the moment. There's 3 Miko, not 2. There's 3. 1, 2, and 3. 1 over here. This one's getting relics. Harmonious necklace coming back. Meanwhile, the stable coming up for Matreiuss. Over onto this side. Medium Contarius coming in. Going to be sniping the shrine. I mean, the question in the chat is, can you play this passive versus Japan and win? I think this is like the theory, right? The theory is you don't want to fight, and there's a hole in the forest. You hate to see it. He gets in, he slaps one villager. It's not the end of the world there for Matreiuss, but that hurts. As the Bushi comes through, I'm going to start trying to take out this Stymphalian bird. Move on to this side. The shrine does end up going down. Stymphalian birds all over the place. And we do actually see a new moon onto... I thought it was going to be on the temple nearly 100%, but he does decide, no, we're going to go for it on the armory here. Now, if that's the case, he does have to make sure he, at the very least, gets this technology here. The, I can never remember what it's called. It's something, no, I can't remember. I can't remember. Ascetic practices. The ascetic practices. He needs that tech because that makes these Tengu function. Without that tech, they are kind of... They're okay. They're a mediocre unit. They're fine. But with the tech, that's where they get all their power from. But nonetheless, now Mosca is happily out on his second gold mine. Grabbing that one nice and early. The Contarius numbers are starting to creep up. We're seeing more Bushi coming in because he needs those Bushi to try and take out the flying myth units. I'd love to see some Yadi spearmen here as the Contarius. They're fantastic, right? But not really versus those Yadi spearmen. Mosca gets himself, not Mosca, Matreiuss gets himself out his Shogun as both players are just spamming away here. It's kind of close on the military resource value for the time being. As the Tengu dive through, get a little bit of damage off, but the units will just simply retreat as Matreiuss is thinking now is his time to shine. But the Stymphalian birds are in. I think one thing here is that Matreiuss doesn't really need to panic here. I don't think he is behind by 10 villager count, but that doesn't mean a whole lot. I don't think he really needs to rush here. He also is this position here is the biggest of baits from Mosca. He is playing mad bait gameplay. Oh. We can see it. Matreiuss can't see it. I don't know if I can show you this. Yeah, there we go. He can't see this. As the Bushi come forward. A little bit of a snipage there onto the Stymphalian birds as the Tengu dive forward, tanking up on that retreat. Does lose one. What's he just throwing that one away there? He's almost got enough favor for another new moon, but I'm not sure what he is really going to be wanting to use with that one. As now, Mosca says, hey, I got an advantage. Let me go for a big fight here. Matreiuss says, all right, we'll turn around. We'll take the fight. He does have that swampland. It might be worth it to drop that one down as the Bushi going after those Stymphalian birds, immediately pulling back over here as they're not able to come through. New moon onto the temple here will be boosting up the Tengu here to give a little bit more resources as the army there of Mosca gets absolutely brutalized. As how much has this Shogun got? He's got nearly 800 damage from that fight there. Nearly 800. 800. That's 8 samurai. There is still all of these. There is still all of these spider eggs, but Mosca has made a really drastic miscalculation in this game. Everything he was doing was fantastic, but he decided to attack the Japan. He had the spider eggs. He had all the defense here. Now Mosca has got just a tiny bit of gold left. He does have the ability to run around and get some raids in. We are seeing a castle coming up. That's going to take a while. A couple of heavy Yadi spearmen are in defense over here. But Mosca Doesn't have that idea just yet. He is looking for a big surround, take a big fight here. More Yachty Spearmen going to be on the way as the Bushi getting dragged back. We see the Swampland coming in, which is going to allow those Bushi to sit here. Going to try and take out this Stymphalian Bird. Again, the Shogun over onto this side, trying to get more Samurai in, just distracting around here, and turns around, gets onto that Shogun, onto that Dryad to get even more units as Mosca's army absolutely melts here, as he is now in an incredibly difficult position. More Stymphalian Birds, more Contarius. And Matreiuss, he's played this game very, very well. He's managed to play around what Mosca has presented to him in a fantastic way. Like, Mosca obviously crafting this strategy, thinking about how he's going to take out Tsukiyomi in this matchup. He says, we're going to get that fast roll, we can get this defense in. Was working really nicely for him. We also see the Tengu managing to spot an Oracle on the side of the map there, getting a little bit of gold for his troubles. There is, however, still a gigantic villager differential. So there is an opportunity here for Mosca to try and pull himself back into this game, running back over onto this gold mine, for example. Maybe dropping some more spider layers as the army comes in. Another samurai coming through as this Shogun is at 1200 HP. Not HP, damage dealt 1200. That's 12 samurai. It is an excessive amount of samurai that he's managed to make here. Another castle coming up onto this spot. Does get spotted by the Yachty Spearman, but he's not paying attention as Mosca will come through. A couple of villager picks here. This is the way back into the game. If you're ever stuck on in your main base trading for resources, if you've got the speed advantage, you've got to get out. You've got to get some rage. You've got to pick some villages. He's onto both of the gold mines here. But with a castle up, this is not the easiest of raids to make happen. He will come over and try and take out the castle. That's going to be a nice little bit of value back for him. But Matreiuss, he is smart enough to say, you know what? We can just come over here and attack you, as the citizens do need to get pulled back. The Shogun, 33 HP and a dream. Got to be careful with those samurai. There's more spider eggs do manage to come through, and Matreiuss will have to pull back. This game is not over just yet. Mosca's back onto his gold mine. He's got the economic lead in a big way here. Yachty Spearman getting sniped over here. The Tengu Master, however, coming in will scare Mosca off. He says, I don't want to stay there and take all that damage, give all that gold over to my opponent, because that's the way that Matreiuss keeps a lead here in this game. In fact, it's probably not a bad idea for Matreiuss to just get himself out another couple of Miko at the moment for a little bit more favor income, so he can get more Tengu, because those are getting transferred into resources here as well. There's the Contarius coming through, spot the villagers retreating in to the castle. Doesn't pick off any as the Yachty Spearman manages to take out all the Contarius. They're great defense from Matreiuss as Mosca's raids proving ineffective. But Mosca does get himself up the castle. And now the game continues. The only problem here for Mosca is he still needs to get caught up on upgrades. He needs himself those armory upgrades. There's full bronze to need here. Matreiuss wandering forward. In seeing this castle, he has to say, I can't really take this fight. And he does say that. He pulls back. In fact, he loses his Shogun there to the castle as well. It's the Arcus sitting here. They're doing what they can do. Matreiuss sees an opportunity to dive forward here. Another spider egg getting dropped down. It's the Bushi wandering forward. Sniping those units beautifully on this side. Onto the back here. Palace looking to get taken out. To have a whole bunch of Yumi horse archers. Matreiuss is going for it here. I don't know if he actually has quite enough, but the citizens popping out to try and repair the palace as Mosca's defense here looking fantastic as Matreiuss to shoot and scoop back here, trying to snipe all of those dryads. And Matreiuss, he needs to figure out another way forward in this game. He cannot simply just keep charging forward. And Oyumi will be a big help here. It's an amazing, if you get a couple of these out, an amazing counter to all of these Arcus. As the Tengu diving in, going to get a couple of snipes here as they're also building up that gold income. Yumi Horse Archers also really good against those heavy Arcus once they're in range. As the villagers yet again popping through the palace, trying to repair it up. There isn't really any hero archers left now. No Bushi left for Matreiuss, so the Valiant Bird at the very least is going to be getting more value as the Samurai do manage to break the palace down. The Arcus, on the other hand, have managed to clean up the majority of the Bushi, but the citizens falling here. This is what Matreiuss needs to finish this game off. And a valiant attempt here from Mosca. I think he had the right idea, but he went a little bit too insane, charging in with those Dryads and not being able to take out the Shogun, not respecting that bad boy. And I think the amount of value that that unit got, just do a quick math on it. I think it had at least 10 samurai. At 180 resources, 10 samurai is 1,800 extra resources. Plus, you also have to add on the fact that it was killing off all those Dryads, which are 200 wood or whatever they are, 175 wood. So, yeah, that was like, of all of the Shoguns you'll ever see, that's probably the most value Shogun you'll probably ever get. That's like max to the nth degree. But however, ladies and gentlemen, we've got a series here. It's 1-1 now. Let's jump back over to the draft and see what they're going to pick for game number 2. Alrighty. So the next game is going to be on Anatolia, as Mosca is feeling Anatolia for the next one. And we will have a win for the Tsukuyomi and a lose for the Gaia. Did I say game 2? Game 3. Game 3. Wait, let me see what the gods are going to be here. It looks like it's going to be a Hades versus Isis. We've actually been seeing quite a bit of Isis starting to pop up here on this map, which is interesting because there was, for the longest of times, not very many people picking Isis on this map. It was a lot of Zeus, a lot of Hades, a lot of Freyr, sometimes seeing Kronos here. But yeah, the Hades versus Isis is spicy because effectively the game plan here is hold the middle from the Isis, win. If you can't hold the middle, then the Hades will win. So there is a lot of risk here. But Isis does have the advantages in terms of timings and stuff, so she can set up. But you can also break through those setups as well. So we'll see what Matreiuss can actually manage to do here with his Hades. They're both Greek experts. And it is interesting that one of these Greek experts has decided to not go into any Greek gods here for this series, whereas the other one's grabbed 2. And has actually picked his last pick as well. This is like normally the saving this one for a counter pick type idea, but he grabs it for Anatolia. Nonetheless, let's get into game number 3. 1-1, Matreiuss Mosca, Hades versus Isis. Let's go. It is indeed Isis for Mosca and Hades for Matreiuss. We did see a Hades having success earlier today with the Ulysses Tiger Boss series. We'll see what Matreiuss is going to be able to make happen here for his game here against Mosca. But Mosca, I know this guy. He played a lot of Poseidon recently, but he is a multi-god talent. He plays all the gods at a really high level, and I know that his Isis is incredibly strong. Actually, I do wonder, is he one of the... There's this really cool thing on the AOMstats.io website. Shout out to Gerbot and on the crew over there that's making our life amazing. There's this thing called the God Elo beta. For Isis, Mosca is rank 4. So he is the 4th best Isis player according to stats, the ladder, and all the other good stuff. Considering the Mister doesn't play ladder, it's a little bit of a difficult thing to actually say anything for certain about where he belongs there, as he would probably be once, which is taken down to 5th spot, which is still really, really up there. But Mosca is the 4th best Isis on the ladder. So we'll see how he's going to go as he moves over to grab his docks over onto the left. But the thing is, yeah, I think Isis's main strengths come from on the land maps. What makes Isis so good on the land maps? Things like the 5 gold obelisk, getting mass vision, effectively having map hacks for the cheap cost of about 50 gold, right? You get yourself 10 obelisks out and you can see the entirety of the map. On a map like Anatolia, sure, you can do that still, and it's still really, really effective, but holding map control is a little bit difficult when you also need to be spending resources to defend the water. And I know Matreiuss here is probably... I don't actually know. But if I remember what Matreiuss likes to do on this map, he likes to put pressure. He likes to go water early. There's players that like a fast heroic here. There's players that like to play a very slow defensive water game here. And then there's Matreiuss who just goes full crazy, full pedal to the metal, full forcing you to make mistakes and trying that way. Now, this is a tournament. It's not ladder, so sometimes he plays a little bit more... Players will play a little bit more conservatively. I don't really know about Matreiuss. He kind of just... I think he's numb to it at this point. He's played so many, and he just goes, nah, I'm just going to go with what I like to go with. So we'll see how it actually ends up working out for him. We've got the Ullr's Bow on the map here as well. Huge, huge, huge relic for both players. If Mosca picks this up, now his Chariot Archers are going to feel a lot better against those Peltas. If Matreiuss picks this one up, he's already got the +1 range, so let's just add an extra range on there. And now the Peltas are going to completely dominate the Chariot Archers, and it might not even be an option for Mosca to build them past a certain amount of time. Arrows of the Alpha here, boosting up building damage. Another huge relic here for both players, but probably more so for the Isis, who's going to be wanting to lock off the middle of the map with those Migdol strongholds. Over onto this side now, we've also got the text of Imhotep, another great relic there for the Isis to build those buildings up quickly. And finally, adamantine shingles. Not really the most important relic, but it will help those houses stay alive from things like meteors. So maybe Matreiuss could enjoy that and all the other good stuff. But fishing ships are coming out, and both players have stuck to the hard and fast rules here for Anatolia. If you start on the same side as your opponent, go to the other side. If your opponent is on the other side first, stay on the same side. Build both docks on the same side. So both players have gone same side, both side, and they will go up to their 18 fishing ships. No one's managed to steal any fishing ships just yet. So complete equality in this game. The only difference being one player already up through Athena. And Mosca here has his temple, hasn't advanced yet. Now decides with a 5:30 advance time that Bast is going to be the option. We really haven't been seeing Anubis from anyone on this map from the Isis side of things. Such an easy way to just sort of defend your water without any commitment there. Meanwhile, Handak's coming through for Matreiuss. He doesn't have any villagers on the food anymore, so he's 100% going for some water shenanigans here. Economic upgrade situation. He's already got Handaks, no pickaxe just yet. And Mosca just says, it's pickaxe time. So he's getting both of his upgrades. Still taking it very, very slowly here. And Matreiuss also grabs the Persine first. Sometimes I see him skip this with the attempt to just get that little bit of extra value by popping in and like kicking some fishing ships off their fishing spots and all the other good stuff. But the Katoskopos just getting the scouting information to the main base. Mosca here setting up obelisks all across the map here for the cheap price of 20 gold to get complete line of sight through the middle. The Minotaur, however, is that one going to sneak through? It kind of looks like it is sneaking through. Mosca popping around the back here. Oh, no. If he's not paying attention, he will not notice. In fact, okay. I guess a Minotaur to take down the priest is a completely fine thing to do, but the Sphinx is coming over here, and that's going to change things. And now Matreiuss is the one who has to go and run out of here. He was through. He could have been ready to start smacking some villagers or something. But nonetheless, a couple of boats now coming out onto this side. Mosca gets himself out a war barge. Over on this side, a war barge as well. Matreiuss in. Mosca. Fishing ships pulling back. The Pentaconta going after the war barge here. There's the Juggernauts chasing in, and that will be first blood drawn. We're onto this side, picking off those obelisks as the Katoskopos does end up getting sniped. I forgot the watermat rule of never picking up relics yet. It's too busy. You're too busy sniping everything and losing pharaohs and putting obelisks down. Anyways, Pentacontas for Matreiuss getting spammed out as he's trying to break through on this top side. We are seeing the food and gold situation starting to creep up here for Matreiuss. As these boats just simply pulling back. And on the backside here, Matreiuss just pulling back as well. And now he's got the dock popping out. Ready to start trying to take down cabinets and all the other good stuff. He's got a handful of those Pentacontas. And it will be a heroic age relatively soon. An armory coming up on the other side for Mosca as well. He could drop prosperity if he wants. And that's exactly what he's going to do. And then go to the heroic age himself. So both players will be there at roughly the same time. Slightest of leads for Mosca. Matreiuss. A little bit of maybe missed macro. Could have been there probably a little bit before he has. One thing I like to do here as well on this map is go market first rather than the armory. So I can actually sell some of that food, because oftentimes you don't need that much food here in the classical age, and you need that gold a little bit more. If you're the first one to sell food, then that's going to be you having more gold than your opponent to work with, and they're going to be stuck with all that food in the bank. There's Aphrodite slowly coming through. The Achilles on the way as well for Matreiuss. As these Pentaconta rolling forward, trying to take out those war barges. Not quite able to break through here just yet. He does have 4 villages on favor. 3 villages on favor, so he is going to be going for some Skylar here. He does also have to make sure he gets his heroes out. I like the idea of just having these garrisoned in a tower or something where your opponent can't see them to bait some sort of an Ancestor Eclipse onto your economy. But Matreiuss is just not playing around. All his villages are in the same spot, so any myth units that come there, anything that attacks him in that moment, he's going to be ready for. Meanwhile, with that threat in hand, Mosca says, great, I can run forward. I will put the Migdol up, and my opponent will have a lot of trouble here dealing with this stuff. As the Skylar now coming out onto this top spot, onto this bottom spot, and Ancestor Eclipse now into the main base. There are the heroes here. Don't see any... I don't really see any Chiron coming out. There is going to be this Minotaur, which can help headbutt the minions away, but just a little bit of damage to come through. The villagers almost can just ignore this. This is not something I've really seen happen, but the minions, as long as you've got your heroes in to defend, you shouldn't really take any damage here. And I love seeing this defense here from Matreiuss. This makes me so happy. He played so well around this, and he lost 0 villagers for it. Chef's kiss for Matreiuss. Mosca completely wasting that Ancestor's Eclipse. And the game goes on, but Matreiuss is now breaking in this side. He's going to be able to take out the Leviathan, as that Skylar is now up to 3 heads, going on 4 heads soon. On the top side, Another Leviathan going to be going down. This is Skylar just paying attention. It's the Isis here. He'll be losing his dock. The only thing is that Mosca is well and truly prepared in the center of the map. He is well and truly prepared here to get a whole bunch of stuff done. Restoration on this bottom side from Matreiuss might be a little bit of a waste there. He's trying to keep his Skylar alive into the main base now. We do have the Scorpion Man coming in. That Nemean Lion with the stun. So huge here to push Mosca back. And Matreiuss thus far, you got to say it, I think he is completely in control in this game. Though he's lost his top side over here, his top side army, and maybe it's going to flip back the other way. Not Restoration, but Curse gets dropped down as the units are just trying to push forward, trying to snipe as many of them as he possibly can. Mosca has held on this side. He's pushing forward over this side as well as the Skylar pops out. The fishing, not the fishing ships, the Covenants don't have their upgrade in. So there's no Mythic Rejuvenation. There is one tech that we do see forgotten about quite a bit, which is that Argonauts tech, which gives the Argo in. Which can be a nice help against things like the Leviathan and whatever. There's those Juggernauts getting taken down. The War Barges coming through. You do see a Fortress coming up for Matreiuss now. As those Prodromus starting up, as the idea is Hades Prodromus? Well, at the very least, they're costing less gold. It's a good little idea here to try and break out. He doesn't need to break through this spot. He just needs to get over onto this gold mine. Little by little does he have to start making some progress in this game. The problem here is, if he's going to keep on building out these Skylar, well, they're costing a ton of gold, and he doesn't have that much. He's getting that Argonauts. You get yourself one Argonaut there, and it also unlocks the Argonaut, or the Argo here to be rebuilt, retrained from the dock a little bit later on. As now, Hephaestus to come through for Matreiuss. This one's spicy. Even if he gets to the Mythic Age, I think Mosca can just stay here in the Heroic Age, get himself all of his iron upgrades, not iron, bronze upgrades, tier 2 upgrades, and he should be able to go toe-to-toe with this army and lock Matreiuss out from getting onto a second gold mine, because it's such a big spend. But he's going for it nonetheless. Dock going down over here. The Argo on this side. Such a strong unit. How much does it actually cost? I never know. 200 wood. Yeah, that's very, very reasonable. You definitely get that one back on repeat because you've got plenty of wood in your main base to keep pumping things out. However, the problem is that Matreiuss does need units here. He's going to slowly make his way out here. Try and take out these obelisks. Mosca sees this army of Prodromus and he's got to start thinking, well, I better get some spearmen, and he's already set up for it. That is really, really forward thinking from Mosca. I think he may have spotted the Prodromus or the Prodromi already, but getting those, seeing exactly how many and just getting them all sorted out, getting those spearmen in, that makes Matreiuss' life really, really challenging here. Because now Matreiuss is going to have to start getting out some other units. And there's no unit, maybe Hypaspis, but there's really no great unit that's low gold cost. Peltast is another unit not getting built out here just yet. As Matreiuss gets pulled back, he has to pull all the way back into his main base here. Still defending on the water on both sides nicely as Mosca slowly making his way through on the bottom side. And with Mosca, Heroic Age, nearly full pop. Matreiuss will be Mythic Age. He's going to get his armory upgrades. That costs gold. Siege Towers coming through here as well to say, I'm not going to wait. I was gonna, but I don't need to wait here. Let's just charge. You don't have any gold income. I'll just run forward. There is a lot of defensive firepower here, though, for Matreiuss. He's got the Colossus to come through as he goes through his upgrade. He does get his upgrade. Is now the armory upgrades to come in slowly. But what do armory upgrades mean if you don't have any real units? The Prodromi pop out of the fortress, but that fortress is going to be falling here as Matreiuss has got to pull now back underneath the town center, as he has to somehow slow down this army of Mosca. Mosca breaks the fortress. Got the Pharaoh in now to take out the Colossus as well. You can use that Colossus to take out the siege towers. This guy is an absolute machine at being an anti-siege unit. Full bronze now in for Matreiuss. Mosca still sitting at full population though, as Matreiuss can't break through this army. Siege towers rolling back in to take out the stables. He's still pumping out spearmen, chariot archers, more Leviathan coming through. There is a Carcinos out for Matreiuss, but that one's really not going to be that big of a help here. Yeah, Matreiuss doesn't have any myth units that don't cost gold either, so he can't even... Like, Manticore would be amazing here, right? Prodromus do manage to get onto the back line of the chariot archers here. Some Hypaspis now starting to join into the fight. Villagers are coming forward now for Mosca as he says, I'm ready to put a Migdol stronghold in your face. But Matreiuss doesn't want to see it. He taps out, and Mosca claims game number 3 with some very, very dominating ISIS play. I have to think about this and say, should Matreiuss have gone Mythic Age here? And if he didn't, what should he have done instead? If we take a look at the actual military difference here between the Mythic Age, you can see that it is about that 2400 there. So realistically, if Matreiuss had spent all of his resources, stayed in the Heroic Age, maybe he would have been able to break out of his base. Maybe he would have been able to get that gold mine and continue in this game. Maybe. But nonetheless, Mosca wins game number 3. It's a best of 5, so 1 game away from complete victory in this series. We'll see if Matreiuss can bring it back. He's still got his pride and joy in Poseidon in his little draft. He's also got some pretty strong Ra and Set gods that I know Matreiuss is good with. But let's check out the draft, see what they're going to pick next. Alrighty, so Mosca up to 2 wins here. Game 4 on Blue Lagoon. Alrighty. They had a loss for the Hades on the back here and a win for the Isis. Is this the grand final? No, we're in the group stages, man. It says right there. It says group stage. We're not even in the playoffs yet, let alone the finals. Yeah, there's 2 options here for Matreiuss, I think. I don't think he can pick Poseidon because you got that Fushi. Fushi is scary there for Poseidon. Maybe Matreiuss can make it work because it's Matreiuss. But Set on Blue Lagoon is fantastic. Ra is difficult to make work, but if you know how to use him there, he's very good there as well. But I think Matreiuss, if he wanted to pick Poseidon, he probably would have gone in onto the map Giza here. He did get the pick for this one, so he picks Blue Lagoon, but he does go with Poseidon. And Mosca goes with no surprises. Fushi here. Spicy. Let's get it. Game number 4. Right-hand corner of the map, blue color, Mosca. Left-hand corner of the map, red color, Matreiuss. We're on the map, Blue Lagoon. Matreiuss needs to win this one. He's got to force a game 5 here. Well, he doesn't... Realistically, he doesn't need to win this one. Top 3 from the groups do go to the playoffs. But you really want to be... You really want to be in that top 1 portion of your group. Without question, you want to be in that top 1 of your group. So Matreiuss needs to win this one. Mosca, on the other hand, he doesn't need to win this one. He could lose this one and then win the next one. So no pressure on him. But he has a really nice god for this matchup. He's got the Fushi. You can go... I think you probably want to go for... what should you get first? I think you probably want to go for the Qiyao. I don't know about Zhennu here in this one. Though it's probably fine. But I just love the idea. Well, I don't love it. The idea of having those halberdiers with Master of Weaponry versus any sort of cav. It's really, really nice. But Matreiuss is going to be keyed in here. He's going to have known what to do versus China with Poseidon for the longest of times. But Mosca also knows what Matreiuss knows because they're both Poseidon mains. Both of these guys, Poseidon experts, so to speak. Temple coming up now for Matreiuss. There is a world here where you actually go Ares in this matchup. Not necessarily for the Cyclops, though that's fine. Actually, probably no. Not really for the Cyclops at all. But more for a defensive, booming game. Making yourself have stronger Hephaspis, stronger Hoplites, stronger Prodromus, stronger Toxotes. Because realistically, if you're going to play a defensive, booming game here against Fushi, are you really going to be needing to make that many cav? Probably not. Nonetheless, Hermes coming through for Matreiuss. There are some relics to look at. Jade Hair is a big relic. Does Matreiuss spot it? He has seen it. Has Mosca seen it? Not just yet, but it will be revealed to him very, very shortly. The Theseus is going to be on his way already. Pops out, and he is coming down very quickly, right? Wait, he's not? It's Pygmalion's statue over onto this side, of which Matreiuss does see, but that is going to go the wayside of Mosca here. Most likely. He picks it up. Hero stops. Other relics on the map. There is the Ankh of Ra. Going to boost up that favor there. And finally, the head of Orpheus here. Building line of sight +8. Matreiuss, does he not know? I don't think he knows. Oh, that's so upsetting. If your hero stops mid-path, the game is not bugged. Your opponent just took the relic. That's what that means. The hero shouldn't stop. Well, it does. That's how it's working. That's how it works. It's no longer got a command to pick up the relic because the relic is no longer there. But nonetheless, it's going to be Hermes. It's going to be Qiyao. Now, one thing here for Matreiuss that he can play into as his centaur comes over here looking for some raids is the fact... Oop, a little bit of fighting on the... Oh, hello? 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 I haven't seen this before. We just had the game completely stop. Do I just pop out and try and jump back in? I'm gonna just pop out and see what's... Yeah, still going? Okay, I'm gonna pop out and just see what's happening. See if I can... I've not seen... This is a new one for me. Let's see if we can just jump out, go back in and speed up to that... Speed up to live time. No, if someone disconnects, then now they're definitely still going. They're up to 8 minutes. If someone disconnects, the game keeps going, and the game ends. Someone resigns. Hopefully, we don't get locked off at 4 minutes again. Okay, we're back. We're in. The Centaur is alive. We didn't miss out on anything. No action missed here. As the Pioneer getting sniped down, we are going to be seeing the Yatza getting sniped as well as those Pioneers chasing after that Centaur there. But the Yatza does end up going down. So a nice little snipe early on here in the main base of Matreiuss. He is going for the town center while putting on as much pressure as he can. However, Mosca, it's not his first rodeo. He knows what no Hippias means. It means you're going for a town center. Where are the Hippias, he's asking. He doesn't see any. Okay, well, he's going for a town center. There's no other options. Now, Matreiuss could be fooling him, but the Najjar is now coming through, and the villagers in the main base are going to be under some pressure here. Matreiuss running in onto this side with his Centaur looking for any amounts of damage. Atalanta chasing down Najjar. In a battle of Atalanta versus Najjar, who wins? 248 HP, 286, 9.4 hack versus 8.3 hack. But there is also a little bit of damage over time that's coming through here. I'm not exactly sure how much it is. Which does increase the DPS by quite a bit as the Atalanta will be able to come over here. We'll be able to join in. That's one little smack there. And the Atalanta can chase the kid down, but the kid should be able to win that fight. Meanwhile, on the top, military camp coming down for Mosca, as he has not scouted the town center here of Matreiuss. Matreiuss has managed to get his town center through. It's 5 divine damage per hit. Okay, also so Najjar wins that fight without question. But if there's 2 heroes, he doesn't win the fight. So happy days. But Mosca's second town center is incredibly delayed here. As the Katoskopos pops forward, there is a halberdier that's just sitting there waiting to see what's happening. And he does see that there's no town center. Or he gets chased down, doesn't run too far back, and does unfortunately lose his scout there. But good thing for Poseidon is you have this tech here. Must grab Winged Messenger. Grab that tech, make yourself like 2 or 3 extra Pegasus, no problems. And it will be a bit of a boom off here. After I would argue right now that Matreiuss has gotten the better end of this early game. Mosca's town center is later. Matreiuss has done a decent amount of damage without taking too much idle time from the Najjar raid. I don't think he managed to get any villager picks, but I know any idle time is good. And the fact that this town center is so late has to be taken as a win for Matreiuss. However, there is 70 favor in the bank for Mosca. What is he going to do with that? Do you just spam out Qualfu now? Build 7 Qualfu? Makes sense. It's a lot of extra resources for you. But Matreiuss has got his armory down. He wants to get to the next age here. The Centaur has to be very careful. He is very close to dying. There's not any way to heal him up, unfortunately. As the wall's coming up over onto this side. And the Atalanta can come through here. Nice micro from Mosca. Snipes down the center. Villagers looking like they even want to come and join in here. There's these units of Mosca. Tiny amount of units here will not be able to get any real damage done. Over onto this side, though, the Najjar is going to come through, and that might change things. Maybe? Not exactly sure. At the very least, the Pioneer will go down. And it looks like Matreiuss just says, I want to ignore the Najjar for now. I'm going after as many of these Pioneers as I possibly can. You might get one final one as Mosca not retreating that one away. It probably dies regardless, but Theseus to go down as well. But some real nice trades there from Matreiuss. Is that 3 Pioneers and a halberdier for 2 heroes. You can't be unhappy about that. It's in the main base of Mosca. I think he knows exactly what he's facing. He's dropping an armory. Like I said, there's so much favor in the bank here for Mosca. He's only got 4 Quailfu out. So with the villager differential being literally equal here, this is just good for Matreiuss. I can't see how this is not good for Matreiuss. He's got to be happy about this position. Charges in with another Atalanta. Poking away. He's making himself hoplites. Going to need a stable up. A couple more stables. I like the idea of this because Fushi wants to go for White Horse Cavalry. So if you make the stables, you're not making stables for Hippias here. You really do not need Hippias in this matchup, in my opinion. Regardless of how good the Cavalry God is with the Hippias. Better to make Prodromus when you need them. But you also do need to make sure you get the Spirit Charge tech in. Going Dionysus means you get bronze as well. That can be a big help. Up onto the top side, some hoplites. Looking for some maximum value with minimum, but that is a lot of Quailfu here. He's moving up to the top side, but look at that movement. I don't know if he did it on purpose or if it's just the AI, but he gets the wall up. As the hoplites come through, they see the wall there, and this Quailfu can literally sit on the back side and say, excuse you, you die here, you die there, hoplites. You made a mistake of trying to do something in this game. I will clean those both up. Get out of here. Hydra in for Matreiuss. He's got some Hippias. He is actually making Hippias here. Gormang is on the way. I guess I don't mind him making a handful of them, but you cannot go mass Hippias in this game because those White Horse Cavalry will end up winning on the fights there. I'm also a little surprised to see the Najjar not getting deleted and rebuilt. It's 150 gold for the Najjar to get back up to full HP as the Quailfu going to come over here and attempt to hold this position. With the hoplites and Atalanta in, should be able to turn onto the Najjar and take it out. He's got to do so. The kid is now the teenager. Gets a little bit of extra HP in there. And then we see the ballet coming through. And this position is going to be very, very hard to crack for Matreiuss. Starting to congregate a whole bunch of these very, very strong raiders in the medium Hippias to charge forward. As Mosca focusing up onto the top side. Can these Hippias get through and get some kills? Villagers over there don't get spotted by Matreiuss. Going after the villagers in the main base. Mosca retreats. Does manage to keep every villager alive. He's spreading out everywhere. But a huge amount of idle time forced here as Mosca... How many has he got? He's got 9 here. Villagers popping out of the tower as Matreiuss is going to happily tear through these villagers. Meanwhile, we're seeing a little bit of a blue raid coming in. The White Horse Cavalry are coming through. I really want to see some Prodromus to deal with these, but the Hippias going to come through. Can turn around and start shanking that as well. We'll be able to snipe off 1 White Horse Cavalry. Maybe I'm completely wrong here, and the Thracian horses... Hippias are going to be more than enough versus these White Horse Cavalry. They don't have any upgrades just yet. And he has managed to defend for the time being. Sniping off this bad boy. Hippias coming over onto this spot as now the Watchtowers is in. And Matreiuss overstaying his welcome a little bit, but does manage to get out. After all is said and done, he's kept the villager differential very close. Which generally means good stuff for the Greek. Why? Well, you've got... Is he really... 4.2? Jesus, that's a lot of wood income. 3 gold per second over here. 3.19 versus the 0.85. I guess that all gets equaled out by the villagers that are working very, very slowly. The peasants working very, very slowly. Unless you've got that upgrade, of which Mosca does have, which makes him get a lot of wood income very, very fast. Or if you're on top of the Peach Blossom Spring, which is going to give you even more of an advantage on the economy. As we have got crenellations coming through. Matreiuss charging in as we have the forest protection to come through, but Matreiuss is just saying, no worries, let's charge in. He's taking a lot of damage from these town centers and towers, but his unity will lose 1 here as he gets back out. But forcing out a defensive main town center forest protection here is ideal for Matreiuss. Matreiuss has got to be happy about that because now that means he can push up onto the top. Yeah, there's a ballet here. Not a big deal. Imagine a dock and a transport ship, though. Oh, the small things in my life that make me very, very excited. Nothing makes me more excited than a dock with a transport ship on a map like Blue Lagoon. Nonetheless, the Terracotta Riders coming through. Both players looking to get to the next stage. Bronze gets dropped down. Just ceasefiring. Maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he thinks bronze is going to be enough. I don't know if it will be. There's a lot of cav fighting underneath the ballet, the town center. The Hydra will be going down. And Matreiuss does manage to simply break through this position with the Quailfu dive into the ballet. There's nothing left over onto this spot. Does Matreiuss know is the question. He does see a silo up there, so he knows that something's up there. But even if he runs over to that position, the Quailfu can move through the wall and go elsewhere. Matreiuss definitely overstaying his welcome now that bronze is finished up, but he's clicked up through Feistus. What is happening in this game? How? How is this? What is happening? Someone explain why this game is freezing. We're just going to speed through the record again. I'm going on to this scene so you guys don't have to hear all the sounds going spazzo. The game's still going on, so we still have a game to watch live. I don't actually remember what timer we were up to. It was like 14, 15 minutes. I guess it's just after the bronze finishes. All right. Alrighty, we are back and going. Trying to go. We're doing our best to work through these technical difficulties. Thanks for staying calm and collected with me. But we are going into this next portion of the game. Matreiuss managed to get some damage done. Managed to slow down the Mythic Age of the Fushi. He's now Mythic Age, or already advancing to the Mythic Age himself. So crazy advantages. He's now starting to set up the walls all over the place as the Hippias are tracking down White Horse Cavalry over here. And the reason I'm saying White Horse Cavalry are generally, like, you don't want to build the Hippias versus these guys is because when the White Horse Cavalry have this technology, which they have, and the Heavy Cavalry, they do have better stats. More hack armor, more damage per second, 15.7 versus 14.5. Yeah, more hack armor, more HP, more everything. It's just that the Hippias have got that lifesteal. This Matreiuss is going to try pretty sneaky to try and get this fortress up on the front. He is making some naked hoplites for the moment. Going to have to get those upgrades in. We'll be able to get himself immediately up to nearly full iron here as he drops himself the Plenty Vault, gets that Forge of Olympus. Some White Horse Cavalry do manage to sneak through here as the villagers are going to make a break for the wooden wall here, the gate, as the Hippias to come up here and put a stop to this raid. A couple of villager kills does hurt a little bit, but with Matreiuss having himself the Plenty Vault, he's got to be very, very happy with his economic situation. Fortress up onto this side is going to be huge. Town center for Mosca. Instead of Mythic Age here, he will be advancing soon. He will be going up through Gong Gong. He's got so much favor in the bank. And I think this game here looks to be going very, very late. I can't imagine this game finishing anytime soon. Then again, we do have a Great Flood. That could be a problem. But with a forward fortress here, with the army going to be spreading out, with all the upgrades in for Matreiuss, reducing that damage down. Walls coming up on the top here as well for Mosca. Both of these players are very fundamentally sound late game players. Mosca amazing at late game. Matreiuss as well. He's played many a late game, especially like that Poseidon versus Ra sort of matchup. He used to play against the likes of Joe and Chemo a bunch in tournament with this Poseidon. Games always went late game back then, but now Matreiuss charging forward with the Heliopolis, starting to take things out. Mosca pulling back. It's very tough to make his way through this spot. I much prefer just sitting back and sieging it with the Petropoli, but he's got the hoplite advantage here. There's no answer to hoplites inside of the army of Mosca. Mosca's losing all of his army. He's got 0 military resource value. I was saying the game is probably going to go late here, but is Mosca going through to the Mythic Age in this town center? He's not, so he's got that, luckily. The Terracotta Soul Riders to come in and try and take out these siege weapons. Trying to do their best here as the villagers pop in and take out the Heliopolis on the front. Great decision-making there from Mosca. He doesn't have any military units out. That's the problem here. His economy is completely fine, but grabbing that town center, not getting himself the ballet, not getting himself the spammage. He loses his town center, losing that forest protection, losing all these farms. More importantly, that's 21 farms in this position as the farms up onto the top. That's all he's got. Farms coming up over here as well. The problem is food income. This Mythic Age, what's it going to do? The reason for the Mythic Age here is for Tiger Cav loses his temple as well as he wants to be making Qinglong. This is another really, really nice unit here to at least get some damage done onto your opponent. And Mosca going to do his best to try and just pull himself back in this game. Tiger Cav are getting built. 15 villages on food. All the armory upgrades in for Matreiuss. He's taking out towers, doing everything he possibly can. Villagers getting sniped onto this spot as well. Now the Hippolyta going down. No micro from Mosca here. The big mistake. He's now finally pulling back as the Hippolyta will end up going down, but so too does the Qinglong. Where's the temple? He needs the temple. He's got no wood left. No, he does have the temple up. It's up onto this spot. He is making those Qinglong. He's actually also getting the upgrade, which I don't think does all too much from memory. But the problem here for Mosca is he's got no units. He is slowly pushing in. One random Zhuang Wu to come through as a fortress is up there. As a ballet in the face of Matreiuss here. He will be able to hold this for the time being. He's pushed back over here as he hasn't quite been able to break through. Mosca holding on desperately in this game. It's the slowest animation. It's 4 seconds. If it hits, it really hits with 4 seconds on the Polyphemus. There's just no real units that actually come over here and take out those heroes, so they're just going to continue to just chase around. It's a little bit of damage to actually start coming down as the heroes have been distracted off here. Mosca, can he bring this game back is the big question. The problem is he's losing stuff over here. He's losing stuff over here. The town center going Matreiuss' side here. He does drop a great flood onto this position, taking those units away from this spot, but there's just nothing in. Military resource value is getting kind of closer, but Matreiuss, realistically here, is just missing some houses, and he'll be at full pop. But in that moment there, Mosca does tap out, and I thought this game was probably going to go really late, but I guess Matreiuss saw just a gigantic timing advantage, and Mosca did not have the stuff out to hold. Losing this town center, losing these farms meant he was not able to get into those Tiger Cavs straight away. losing the temple as well, not being able to get those Qinglong out straight away. Both of those two factors meant defending this was nigh impossible for Mosca in that moment. But it's such a great move here. Just attacking with the early Atalanta, Theseus and center, going for the town center. He's getting so much value out of that. And Matreiuss just set the tempo over and over and over and over and over again. But nonetheless, let's move into game number 5. We have one here. I told you these two players were incredibly tight. They're so close in the skill level. One last game, one victor. It won't be the end for these guys. It's still group stage. Let's see what the draft looks like. One last game, ladies and gentlemen. On the map, Giza. It looks to be a Set versus Susanoo matchup. You guys are telling me to restart my game. I ain't restarting nothing. It's not my fault. Set versus Susanoo. So from what I've experienced in this matchup, you just have to make sure you get your priests out, get your town center out, and get yourself to the heroic age. If you can get to the heroic age without really taking too much damage from early game raids here, from things like Naginata Riders and the Kitsune, you're good to go. If you stay in the classical fight, and you're gonna find yourself facing up against heavy units and crying. There is another idea here that I haven't actually tried yet, but it's definitely an idea, given some recent changes to the Slinger, is to stay barracks units only here as set. You still have to get to the heroic age quickly. You don't want to give up on that, but getting into the heroic age, making slingers and having that Slings of the Sun tech so you can actually take out samurai, as well as taking out any sort of ranged units. Another really, really nice idea. But nonetheless, we're going to be getting into this game. Game number 5, last one, Susanoo Set, Matreiuss, Mosca. Let's go. In the left-hand corner of the map, with a big, fat, Borderlands-esque cliff down the middle. I've never seen that. This is a first for me. It's Mosca. On the right-hand corner of the map, Matreiuss. Playing his set. All right, let's check out the relics and see what's going to happen. Got the Rhea's Crown. This is minus 10% there for the town center. Always nice. Grab that one nice and early. Armor of Achilles here. Huge, huge, huge boost here for your infantry. You really need this one if you're the set player in this matchup. Helps out a ton. Up onto the top here, we got the Pandora's Box. This is going to be minus 15% for the myth units there. Nice one for Mosca. I'll tell you about a couple of strats that do actually make some sense here for Susanoo in this matchup as well. And we've got the Heavenly Jeweled Spear. This is Prodromus, Spearman, Herdman, Catapultes, etc. Going to be boosting up those. Really nice for the set as well onto those Spearmen there. Probably not that important for the Susanoo. You're probably not going to be making Yati Spearmen in this matchup all too often, unless for whatever reason the set player decides they want to make Camel Riders. Really not the best unit in this matchup, in my opinion. Okay, so I told you about maybe what set could do here. Some out-of-the-box ideas for the Susanoo are things like going for Raiju raids. These things are going to be really, really strong. Get yourself all the techs in there and quickly rush out a whole bunch of Raiju to run around the map and just basically utilize the Ivory Netscare to keep yourself competitive with that gold income and just be like zapping stuff. Doesn't matter if it's a whole bunch of units or a whole bunch of villages. That's one angle. Another angle is to go for a nice fast second town center with Shrine of the Hunt. Drop that over here. On this spot, drop Shrine of the Hunt. Put the town center up. Very, very hard for the set player to actually break this. early on, and then you just want to get quickly to the heroic age yourself. And you can go through Fujin or you can go through Raijin in those situations. You can actually go for Oni here if you got the economy to make it work. Oni are probably a slept-on unit to some degree, but it does play a little bit around an idea of the Sekhmet style set. If you're not going to go for Nephthys, you don't get access to the cheaper priests, you don't get access to the Nephthi. That Oni can be really, really helpful against the Sekhmet army of set. Following on from all of that stuff, the bread and butter, the milk and tea, the ice cream and chocolate sauce of playing Susanoo. As we do see Ptar coming through actually here from Matreiuss, is Kusanagi. Sorry, let me put this in the right order. It's Swampland, Kusanagi, or it's Swampland, Thunderburst, Kusanagi. That's the bread and butter. That's what you want to be going for. If your opponent's going to be making units, that is. Whichever one makes. Which does beg the question, what happens if the set player doesn't make units? You can just go out and just spam buildings. I haven't seen anyone try it, but, you know, give it a try. Why not? Do have the priest in the middle of the map. Got to be super careful here with that Kitsune. As soon as Matreiuss hits the classical age, that Kitsune is endangered. It's if it's close to the priest, it'll be an endangered Kitsune. So Matreiuss hits the classical age now through Ptar. He has only a handful of villagers on gold, and he is actually dropping barracks. This scares me. He'll have Shifting Sands. He can kind of retreat away from the Swampland with Shifting Sands as an idea. Actually, it's kind of a good idea. Maybe this does make sense. On the flip side, it is Inari all coming from Mosca, so it shouldn't be a far second town center. I mean, there's an idea of doing it. If your opponent's going to be making a whole bunch of spearmen to charge over here, you can drop the Swampland down to help defend your villages or whatever. But I don't think it's much of an option. As into the main base, we see a stable up for Mosca. And Matreiuss wandering forward very early. He wants some pressure here. This is very quick. There's not any answer, really. Actually, I mean, yeah, there's not really any answer for the Wadjet here because 3.8 speed, Mikor, is really not that much. The priest on top of the Juragumo at the moment. Villagers pushed off of the food. Tiniest little bits of damage here from Mosca as he says, I am not waiting around for you to do anything in this game as the Mikor pops out, trying to get involved with taking out some animals here, but she doesn't get the bonus archer damage against animals. She has only got the shanking. Not good enough to take out those animals of set. Over onto this side, the spearman coming through. Juragumo snipes one. Splashes one here. You cannot keep that one alive. This Juragumo is such a good defensive unit in these situations. In fact, she's so good here that I wouldn't mind seeing even more coming in. Do have one Bushi out, however. That's going to be a nice answer for the Wadjet as the Shrine continuing to get knocked down. Mosca healing up his units. Pokes forward. Realistically here, with the double Mikor, charge it in, heal up the Juragumo, and just take out the Spearman. Exactly like this. That Spearman is dead. And you can just keep on healing this bad girl up, and she's starting to get damage. 170 damage done, 2 kills already. The Shrine that Matreiuss is absolutely hating on is now down. There's more Bushi now starting to come through for Mosca. To the top, Matreiuss is stealing away Hunt from his opponent here. Love it. Would love to see him come down and actually grab these Rhinoceros here as well. Or maybe even send those Rhinoceros back. And Mosca will just say, hang on, you left? Really? Already? Okay, no worries. I'll get my Shrine up. Funnily enough, there's already 80 favor. There's so much favor in here for our Susanoo player, no? He hasn't spent any of it just yet. That's a lot of favor. I'm actually kind of... he does have 3 Miko out. Matreiuss, on the other hand, just the 31. I don't think he's spent any favor just yet. Has no upgrades. Has no extra Wadget. And Matreiuss in this position now says, okay. Similar to last game, he says, I'll get some early pressure on. I'll make you turtle up. I'll make you scared. And then we will be going for our own town center. Mosca at this point, what can he realistically do? Heroic Age. That's what he says. Heroic Age for Raijin. He's got 3 shrines. He really didn't take that much damage here in the early game. Like, it was just the shrine. I don't think he even lost any real units. In fact, hang on. Has he lost any units? There's 1 unit killed total there. 0 killed over here. I genuinely think that... I genuinely think there hasn't been a single unit killed. Like, there's 1, but I'm not even sure if that counts because it might just be a random unit, like a random huntable on the map. As now Raijin coming through, and realistically here, Mosca, what he should probably do is get this tech, and then he can just spend all of his gold on Raiju, and that's going to make life very, very tough here for Matreiuss. Now, Matreiuss on the back of this, 2 TC, get Heroic Age. He needs to read this. He can't go Sekhmet. You need to go Nephthys for the priest upgrades. Otherwise, it's going to be an absolute nightmare trying to deal with the amount of myth units coming for him. I have to imagine that that's what's going to be happening. Hand axe, couple weapons coming through, a couple more stables on the way. We aren't seeing the Ivory Netscape coming through, so I'm a little bit like, is he actually going for myth units here? Maybe he's just going to be going for the ultimate of ultimates with Swampland Thunderdome, get Den drums, and just constantly use that as the game continues along. And we do actually see Sekhmet in for Matreiuss. I'm worried for him. He's grabbing himself the Crushing Waves, Raiju on the way. This is going to be a lot of these guys. I mean, Mosca doesn't really need to mass them if he doesn't want to. He can go a little bit softer onto them. And we will see now, Mosca, with his Raiju out, says, I'm going to be happily able to get a town center. Which is a weird order to make everything happen. But him grabbing this will slow the bleeding on the income deficit that he's about to be facing. Priest comes through. There's a Jiragumo over here. And he's happily going to just take that out. He does actually manage to spot the town center coming up on... Does he? I don't know if he saw it. I don't think he did. Look at this guy. He's about to get Thunderous Presence. He's already up to 6.1 speed. As the Pharaoh there gets a couple of hits of damage on. We do see Matreiuss saying, okay, I see what's coming my way. Let me get the survival equipment. He needs either towers down here or a Migdol very fast. So we are going to be seeing the Yuumi Horse Archers. Incredibly tense moment now moving ahead in this game. Spearmen do manage to get on top of a Yuumi Horse Archer. That one there will get picked off. Nice little win there for Matreiuss. He's got to be careful. He's given away his position here. Villagers up to the top, grabbing the Gazelle up there. There will be the Jiragumo up on that top spot. So he's sort of predicting that the units might come up there. If he does, then he's going to be good to defend. But Matreiuss says, let me sneak around the back. The Raiju trying to find these spearmen. He can literally just run all the way around the back here, but he might be going into the main base with the Raiju very quick on the defense. And all these spearmen might just end up losing their lives here. Because I don't think... maybe the best idea is to just turn around and fight it. I don't know. 45% hack armor? The spearmen do manage to get out, though. I thought they would all die. Anyways. Game continuing along. Villager differential is up to 10. as the army to meet each other in the center of the map here. Matreiuss does have the chariot archers to get some nice damage done from afar. Only the one priest in this fight. He does have the Wadjet there to take out the Jiragumo. Good control there from Matreiuss to start dodging the Bushi on the back, but the Raiju now coming through. And Matreiuss, he needs... Actually, we are seeing Den drums. He needs more priests in here. He's slowly starting to get them through. He's got 3. Only the 1 temple. Lots of gold in the bank. More coming through. Does manage to hold for the time being here. Yeah, if the Swampland comes down and then the Thunderburst, you can't Shifting Sands away. It's the Raiju charging in. They do manage to hit the Chariot Archers. One Raiju does end up going down. Oh, Migdol Stronghold over onto this position, but there's no priest here to help defend it. And Mosca sees it and he says, let me at the villagers. The Chariot Archers do have ballistics, I believe. But is this going to be enough? Huge damage onto the villagers. A huge damage onto the Chariot Archers here as well. And Matreiuss is getting absolutely bullied here. With a lack of... I don't know if it's just lack of positioning. Doesn't have the right amount of priests out. The Yumi Horse Archers do have bonus damage here versus these Chariot Archers. But the Chariot Archers will win this fight 9 times out of 10. Now it's 182 favor in the bank for Mosca. The Raiju over here does end up getting sniped. The Spammer just hanging out on this town center, making sure that that never goes up. We still have Kusanagi in the back. We still have Swampland. We still have Thunderburst. So Chariot Archers getting spotted there by the Naginata Riders, and they will clean house onto that fight. Over onto this position, the Pharaoh getting targeted down. We'll have to garrison into the Migdol, doing a good job of trying to snipe this Raiju, but I'm pretty sure he can just dodge the Pharaoh's the Pharaoh's damage anyways. Up onto the top spot, the Chariot Archers all getting sniped, as those Spearmen are much needed to help defend. But Mosca is pulling further and further in front here. He does now have himself his Ivory Netsuke technology as well, so keep your eye on that gold tab for whenever the Raiju uses that special ability. Well, that was only on 2 units. If it's on any more than that, you'll see it go. The Matreiuss does not look like he is going to be able to hold in this one. Swampland gets dropped down. The units can dive into the Migdol stronghold for a little bit. There is also that Thunderburst, but he doesn't want to drop it just yet. Idling the villagers over there, because they can't quite get into the Migdol. There's already 20 units in there. Pharaoh popping out onto the other side. And Matreiuss looks to be absolutely devastated at this moment. The Kusanagi gets dropped down, trying to pick off as much stuff as he possibly can. And Matreiuss in that moment does say, wow, I have been thoroughly dominated at this point. And I think what this comes down to, first and foremost, what I've found in this matchup, which is really important for Set, is to play controlled and in a ball, especially versus the Raiju. You don't want to be spreading units out over to the right, over to the left, and trying to do that. No, you want to be in a ball, and you want to be saying, okay, if the Raiju come, we've got all our units ready to snipe them down really fast. If you go out like Matreiuss did here all over the place, then he's just going to start chasing you down, getting all of those kills because he's got all the speed. So how do you limit the advantage of speed? Well, you just go into one position on the map, basically. But Mosca here, great defense early on. Matreiuss, great decision to go for the town center. Went for the heroic age. I think he should have been staying with Nephthys here for the cheaper priests, the Nebti as well. Saved him some resources. And then just fighting and playing defense, because he's in front on the income by quite a bit, I think. Am I wrong on that? Yeah, he's in front on the resources, so he should have just been playing defense. letting that income carry him through, and then winning Mythic Age. Or winning in late Heroic Age with full bronze and a full army. But nonetheless, well played by Mosca. Well played by Matreiuss. A great series here. 3-2. Mosca gets his dub. First dub for his group. The group of death. I still don't know who's going to be getting out of this group. We'll see how it's going to go. That's it for today. So hopefully you guys enjoyed watching the series. Let's pop over to this menu and we'll do our goodbyes. Alrighty, guys. Thanks everyone for watching for today. Tomorrow, I believe we have a bunch of games as well. Let me just check out the schedule. We have Kavoth versus B tomorrow. Going to be a really fun game. There's also the Rappel versus Aetherial at 1900. Is that right? 16, 17, 18, 19, 1900 on Wednesday. So we actually have 2, and Isomata versus Hells. So there's 3 games back to back tomorrow. And then, is that, tomorrow's Tuesday, right? Yeah. So there's 3 games tomorrow. On Wednesday, it doesn't look like we have much. And then I'm actually away on Thursday and Friday. So I'll be back on Saturday for all of the catch-up games, all the recorded games and things like that. But definitely a huge day tomorrow. So happy days. We got, Rappel, Aetherial. We've got Kavoth B. And we've got Isomata Hells tomorrow. So very much looking forward to it. I'll see you guys there. I'm gonna send you guys over to Sammy Shimmers. And I'll see you guys later. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye.